We win, gotta pee. And then I had to stop. So let's see where this plucks us. Oh, oh, we got a bit of a recap. Okay. Kotomine Kira with the epic stab. Hi, everybody. Renegade 67 and or 8 here with some more Let's Play Stream Fate Stay Night of the blind variety. So, last time we had the epic fight and we finished the fight, I think, and it was mostly cool. Mostly a bit of a step up, but mostly. And you know, for once I actually did a lot of, I did a lot of talking about my thoughts in the pre-stream, which I normally don't do, but I started streaming early, and it basically just boiled to talking about not Kotomi Kiri necessarily, but more the pacing of the narrative and how I feel the early parts were. It felt like the early parts were pretty darn slow. And then it picked up maybe a bit too much toward the end. The pacing definitely feels like an issue. In hindsight, I don't mind Shiro being a stupid dumb in the beginning because of what that means for his character arc in the long run. He just should have been forced into more situations, because obviously he wants to ignore the truth and all that. But he should have been forced into more situations where he couldn't, interspliced into the slow stuff in the beginning, so the pace doesn't feel so abrupt when it speeds up like crazy when Shinji and Ryder show up. Yeah, I don't mind it getting faster as you get close to the climax, but the speed at which it gets faster towards the end and how slow it was at the beginning is a bit too uneven, I would say. So that's the main thing I talked about pre-stream, I guess. And this, we were talking about a lot in the pre-stream about how Wise and about how what was the thing? About how this novel reads kind of bad for a first-timer theoretically. Like Kira as the final villain works for me because I've seen Fate Zero, but it's very abrupt for someone who's not seen it. And it's interesting, and I don't think this part is bad. This part is just interesting. Elia as the damsel in distress is interesting because she was the first person who killed you, so it's definitely a big subversion of what you'd expect. You'd think someone like Sakura would be the damsel based on common conventions that you'd have to save. Of course, Sakura's probably some plot twist character. That's why she hasn't fucking shown up forever, despite the fact that it would make sense to see her after her freaking brother died and we never followed up, and she said it would be a week and it's been over a week and we haven't followed up on that. But anyways, otherwise, yeah, it's just the pathway. I like it. I like it looking back, seeing the whole thing, but definitely the slow early parts are a problem. And given that first impressions are huge, I can see how this could be a big turnoff for someone trying to get into this who either doesn't have a recommendation of a friend or didn't already experience like Fate Zero or something. But again, Fate has gotten as big as it is now, I think partially because of how much of all the multimedia ways you can potentially get into it. I think if it was like, you have to start here, I think it would turn a lot of people off. Hard to say, but, just things I've been thinking about. So, Kotomine Kira. Still falling, Emiya Shio runs on his hands as well. In one hand is the dagger. In a crouching position, running to the Black Priest. Oh yeah, epic stab, dash, dash, dash. And yeah, I also said this last time, but it's interesting that the essentially first real servant, or rather master fight we get is basically at the end of the pathway, because the one with Shinji was really snappy and quick and over with, and other than that, it's all been servant stuff. Maybe master support occasionally, but it's basically all been servant. So, you'd think that Shiro would have done some more master fighting throughout, but I guess the idea early on was that with his whole, I don't want to let Saber fight, if he fought against other masters, he might get a skewed perception of how valuable he really was. And I guess the idea with Shinji was, oh yeah, I can handle Shinji, but then he just couldn't handle Ryder. They could have played that up a little bit more, I feel. Is, hey look, I'm handling these other masters, that means you don't have to fight Saber. And then he does get put in the position where he's forced to fight a master and goes, oh fuck. And I think that could have been a better wake-up call had he fought more masters earlier, and it also would have made this sudden fighting a master at the end thing less like, wait, what? He's finally fighting another master at the end? But that kind of thing. But dash, dash, dash. The sword of retribution is stabbed in the priest's chest. Dash, dash, dash. I do like definitely the Shiro Kirei resolution with the whole him having some weird form of sword birth that even he doesn't fully understand still, which I guess is going to be explained in a later playthrough. But Kirei also did not expect and has not seen him do. And because it's so rare, it threw him off, and that was the one small opening Shiro needed to get the stab in. So I like that a lot for how he managed to get the stab in, on top of, you know, the sword birth with the shield to block out the miasma, Inuyasha in the first place, and then in that opening of, wait, what the fuck, how do you do that, and him trying to process that, Shiro comes in, works really well. The saber thing doesn't work as well because the victory in itself basically just comes from the sheath having its own final smash that we don't really know is a thing, but yeah. The dual sheaths, both winning with sheaths, works really well. It just would have worked better if there was more foreshadowing for Saber's sheath being of a final smash, but... Dash, dash! In that sense, you could say Kirei is a little bit like Ilya, because both of them probably feel like they always want to know everything and be in control, and it's funny that Kirei then captures Ilya at this point, because both of them tend to be really good at fully controlling the situation, but then any kind of bit of info that they're not prepared for really throws them for a loop. I think it throws Ilya for a loop much more, or at least she lets it show much more, because, you know, she's far more immature. But I like to think that Kirei can plan on the fly. Kirei has some of that Rin in him. Kirei, I think, can be a, you know, speed chess master like Rin, but, you know, even the best speed chess master will be momentarily thrown off by some new info, so... I think he probably arguably even could be the best of both worlds, but, you know, something that unexpected, you know, that threw Rin off even despite, you know, her being a speed chess master, so you could argue even if she got her speed chessing from Kirei, that even if he does both extremely well, it's just the one moment can still throw you off. Dash, dash, dash! The priest turns slowly. Before that, stopping himself with his feet, Emiyashiro jumps back. That's a nice face. The spinning body and all the magical energy in his left hand. He takes it in like a whirlwind. He punched that knife. That should hurt his knuckles a little, I think.
Let's go!
The magical energy is poured into the Asloff sword along with the word of release. The golden sword has swung. She must not even have the energy to raise it back up. Saber keeps her sword and her face down. Slashed up, the man beholds the knight that has defeated him. Dash, 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 dash. The sound of wind echoes throughout the compound. The waves of light like a flood are no more. The two knights share no words as they place themselves in a parting called the battle's end. Dash, 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 dash. And the man sighs. Does he sigh? Do you find this entertaining? You do have parallels to Kirei in that you seek entertainment. Do you find losing to be entertaining, or does it just make you furious? He raises his weak hand and touches the cheek of the knight in front of him, as if making sure she exists. Is it real? Am I dreaming? To lose?
憎らしい女だ。最後までこの俺に歯向かうか。
You're a hateful woman. You oppose me to the very end. The golden armor starts to fade away. The existence of the King of Heroes is disappearing. He doesn't even react like he lost. He's just like, oh, you're still trying to beat me. Still keeping up the attitude, even as he's fading away. It kind of makes sense that he's a servant. He's not really, you know, a real boy per se. Not in the way Artoria is.
だが許そう。 手に入らぬからこそ
Oh.
美しいものもある。
But I shall forgive you. Some things are beautiful because they cannot be obtained. The man who has everything. Definitely makes sense that you'd seek things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to obtain. You know, always the seeking the theoretically unobtainable. It's that thing of when you obtain it, it becomes boring. It's only interesting as long as you can't obtain it. Playing hard to get and all that. I can see that, for sure. Someone who has everything is interested by the few things he does not have, but once he has them, they stop being interesting. So the thing that he never obtains is the most interesting of all. I can see that. His fingers slip. His raised arm falls powerlessly to the ground.
ならばこそ俺がお前に敗れるは必定だったか。
And if that is the case, then it was inevitable that I would lose to you. He says it sullenly. And in his final moments,
ではな、騎士王。いや、なかなかに楽しかったぞ。
goodbye, King of Knights. It was indeed fun. Yeah, that sounds about right. If you won, it would have been boring, but you lost, so that makes it fun. He smiles ironically and disappears. For someone who has everything, for someone who always wins, winning itself starts becoming boring after a while. I like that moment, yeah. Sparks fly onto the priest's uniform. Oop. The sparks are coming from the dagger in his chest. No chunks of flesh or blood are flying out. Oh, that's not normal. Wait, what? Uh-oh. Did we not wiener? Are we not the wiener? The sparks are coming from the dagger in his chest. No chunks of flesh or blood. Which suggests what? That he doesn't have flesh and blood? That he's all Grail goop? Has he already turned his body over to chaos? Or did we not do any real damage? Still, the battle here is over as well. Why? Did he just explode in magical goodiness? It evaporated his... Okay. Dash, 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 dash. He doesn't even look at me. He's just looking down at the dagger in his chest in disbelief. Yeah, and I talked about how it would be cool if he gave that to Rin and then Rin gave that to me and then I stuck it in his chest. But if that is the case, they didn't really set that up. But it would have been a cool little full circle. Shio did mention that Kirei was like him and that they're both corpses being supported by something. Then what's he being supported by? Dash, 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 dash. The wind is blowing. The wind coming from the void above eliminates the sounds around it. In the rumbling silence,
なぜお前がこの剣を持っている
why do you have this sword? Got it from Rin, her dying breath or whatever. Her almost dying breath. Her should have been dying breath. Kotomine Kara murmurs in a clear voice.
それは俺のじゃない。遠坂から預かったものだ。
It's not mine. I borrowed it from Tosaka. You know, your apprentice that you completely fucked in the fucking fuck, you bitch. Dash, 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 dash. How long was he thinking? He sighs, and the body that he hasn't moved since the beginning of our confrontation finally moves. Oh, he was just standing still the entire time? Wow. Just using the black goop until that very moment. He did move to be like, you! And then when he raised his hand after he got stabbed, but,
そうか以前気まぐれでどこぞの娘にくれてやったことがあったあれは確か10年前か
I see. There indeed was a time when I gave it to some girl on a whim. I believe it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I want to say I vaguely maybe remember Fate Zero did show that off. And if it did, that does, in hindsight, set this up as a better full circle. But him just saying that now is a bit of a belated full circle. It works. It still works, for sure. But if they had set that up earlier, it would have been a more poetic full circle.
なるほど。私も衰えるはずだ。
I see. No wonder I've become weak. The body of the priest falls to the ground. Dash, 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 dash. I watch it all. He has talked about himself like he was someone else until the very end. Yes, he's just a third party observing himself. He's not, he's not even himself. He's just observing himself. He is another human that he simply allows himself to enjoy. To an extent, even though if he does enjoy himself, then he would enjoy his own suffering, theoretically. And the priest sinks into that which he summoned, that which he wished for. The black goop. That is the end of the man called Kotomine Kirei. In this pathway? Yeah! And the true end of the long battle. And what about Ilya? Is she safe? Are you a cup? Can we save the waifu? Best girl. But what about Neko-chan? The enemy is gone and I face the final large task. Status screen updated? Oh, now we get it. All is distant Utopia Avalon. The ability of Excalibur's sheath. The lost third noble phantasm, the sheath of the holy sword, was excavated by Einsburn at Cornwall and returned to the hand of its owner through time. In the legend of King Arthur, the real ability of the holy sword is said to be the power of immortality in this sheath. Rank EX. Hold on. A++, C. Oh, this is EX. Her. Protection, target one person. Bear your noble phantasm. It has the ability to heal the wounds of its owner and stop their aging, but it can actually be called a moving fortress, centered on an individual. By producing the sheath and moving oneself into the land of the fairies, it shuts out all physical interactions. It can even defend against one of the sorceries interaction. Neko-chan's the hardest fight. Oh boy, I can't wait. Yeah, it would have been nice if they set up the Avalon alternate dimension a little bit sooner. There's a few different ways they could have seeded it. I just needed a small seed mentioning how the sheath is tied to the land of the fairies in some way, and that in itself would have been enough. Or they could have mentioned, there's a few ways they could have done it, and they didn't, and that sucks. But I guess that was it then, as far as master. They have the same master. Daw. I can't wait till we fight Neko-chan, the best final boss. The enemy is gone, and I face the final large task. The black void in the sky. The mud has stopped, but the strange void is still beating. Are we saying that the Grail itself is going to be some big fight for us? Because I feel like we're pretty exhausted at this point. That is the Holy Grail. Can we just say no wish? Okay, thanks, goodbye. The omnipotent Grail that would have been given to the winner of this war. Well, you did it, sure, you're the winner. There's a wind blowing. Kotomine is gone, and the power binding Ilya must have vanished. So Ilya's okay now? Ilya's now free of that void, and she's sleeping by my side? Alright, best wife who's still safe, yes! Sleeping is not dead. Unlike Rin's sleeping is dead. Doesn't seem like her life is in danger. Yes! Cup transformation averted. She should wake up fine if I go home and have Tosaka, who is apparently not dead, look at her. The war has ended. Nobody else is going to get hurt, and I won't lose anyone else. The masters are gone, and the servants will disappear as their tasks are over. I mean, there's only one servant, but sure. Not best sister, best waifu, thank you very much. I mean, I know she's kind of a sister, but they're not related by blood, so it's okay. They can do the dirty. I already knew this was going to happen. We climbed those long stairs together, but you expected to lose. Our parting is already done. Oh yeah, that's right. We gotta part with the Saber waifu so we get the Ilia waifu. Or Rin waifu, I guess, if you prefer. Alright, whoever prefers the sister, fine, you and your silly sisters. I prefer waifu, but whatever. I could go both ways. All that's left is to close the curtains. So on Saber out, we don't actually get to stay with Saber? Dash, 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 dash. I wait with an empty mind looking up at the void. And she appears. She walks straight toward me, her figure unchanged since the first time I saw her. But I thought she didn't have her armor on. That would be changed. Dash, 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 dash. She stops close enough that I could reach out to her. There are no words to confirm her safety, or to congratulate her of the victory. This was something that was already decided. So there's only one thing left to do.
聖杯を破壊します。それが私の役割です。
I'll destroy the Holy Grail. That is my role. I mean, okay, but how can you destroy it better than what you did last time? Like, do we have a plan for how to ultimately, finally, 100% destroy it? Because this feels like, won't it just happen again? It's not really a permanent solution if we just do it like this. I feel like you'd stay in the cycle. Would you not? So saying, she starts to walk. The strong winds do not affect her as she approaches it step by step. Dash, 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 dash. She must be in range. She quietly readies her sword and looks at the black void. And you know, last time you attacked this thing, there was an explosion of fire. Maybe Kirei partially caused that, I don't know, but still kind of risky, isn't it? I stare at her back. I clench my fist hard, bite my lip, stifle the words about to come out of my mouth, and engrave her figure into my memory. And then...
マスター、命令を。あなたの命がなければ、あれは破壊できない。
Master, please give me the order. I cannot destroy it without your order. With her back to me, she tells me to use my last command spell. Saber will disappear once the Holy Grail is destroyed. No, as she will destroy the Holy Grail, she will never again become a servant. Are you sure that's how it works? Because she became a servant in this one, even though it basically happened... She destroyed it, theoretically, assuming that's what happened in Fate Zero. And if she didn't, then how will it destroy it this time? It's still a command spell Excalibur attack, right? Unless you do something extra? I don't see why that would change it necessarily, unless her beliefs have made it change. Like, as in, she won't become a servant again because she doesn't want to become a servant, so she'll just let herself die on the hill? Sarah became a servant because she sought the Holy Grail. Destroying the Holy Grail out of her own will means destroying her contract as well. I guess that's fair. She's destroying it out of her own will. Last time she didn't want to. She destroys the Holy Grail. She'll end her life as the king.
シロ、あなたの声で聞かせてほしい。
Sure, I want to hear you say it. And this just means you dying on that hill? Well, you theoretically have the sheath back, but you only have it back in the present. You won't have it back when you go back in time to end your cycle. So you probably will just die on that hill. Does that mean you don't become a servant because you never bothered using the Grail? Technically, didn't you sign into the contract that you'd be forced to get the Grail? Which means even if you get it and don't use it, aren't you still signed up to stay a servant? I don't know the technicalities of what the Grail promised you, but the Grail seems like a dick. So I don't know why I would go back on its promise, especially after you destroy it here. Saber's voice. Every time I hear it, I want to scream. Feel she'll become just a normal servant out of fame? If she does, though, she should theoretically become a he. Because the fame says she's a guy. So I don't think it'll really be the same Saber anymore, if that's the case. I don't think it'll be the same King Arthur. Or if it is, then... Is it really? I don't know. To tell her not to go. I want to scream for her to stay here. Dash, 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 dash. But that's something I should not do, even for the sake of my life. I love Saber. I want her to be happier than anyone else, and I want to be with her forever. But if I truly love her, that's wrong. I loved Saber as she continued to fight, even after getting hurt. She was a girl who discarded everything, was filled with injuries, yet still protected all the way through. If I consider that beautiful and want to protect it, I cannot destroy her life just for my own selfishness. Yeah, you'd have to use the Grail's evil at this point. It would be different if the Grail actually could do some good wishes and didn't have to make constant sacrifices to do it, but yeah. Ooh, what you say? Shame that the Grail's a dick. She was born as a king and lived as a king. That will not change no matter what. From the time she swore to carry the sword, the girl became a king and nothing else. I think at least some ways, Shiro, you've made the girl come back out of her in these final moments, which I think is good. And I think assuming that she didn't at all is doing a disservice to how you've helped her, which is bad. That is her pride. Screw her pride. I say that she's not just Artoria the King. She can be both. A person can do two things. They can go both ways. She ran through the battle so that in her final moments she'd be able to believe her path was the right one. The dreams of the girl Artoria. The mind that chose to be the king over her own life. To fight. Even after she learned it would be unrewarded, she still clasped the sword and defended the oath of the king. For many years, I cannot do anything to dishonor the pride that she has had until the time of her death. How is it dishonoring it? I disagree with that notion that her accepting the feminine side, the side of her that, is more human than is a weapon, isn't a problem as long as she's able to understand both sides. You wanted her to go too far in one direction, which is a problem. But I think a balance in the middle is more healthy than when she just wanted to be on the king side. Definitely discarded her identity as a tool.
Saber, その責務を果たしてくれ。
It's really awkward that Shiro is wording it this way now, but I get it because of how far he tried to push Saber in the other direction. If he even gave it an inch in his mind at this point, he might just be like, no, I don't want it, don't do it. So he has to then tilt the other direction. So it's now up to Saber, I feel like, to reaffirm to Shiro that no, I do appreciate what you did for me. I feel she should say something like that. I say so with a flood of emotions. An overflowing light. Aw, Saber, if you go out without saying anything, about how he's affected you, I just feel it'll be sad. An overflowing light. I mean, it's sad regardless, but you know, it'll be more sad than it could be. The void in the sky is cut in half by the light and disappears without a trace. I guess that's not necessarily the actual Grail this time, and more something created by the Grail, debatably, but... And so maybe that's why it's different than the explosion last time, where it directly attacked the Grail. And this time her heart is more in it. There's nothing left. The destroyed mountain is now a flat field. I guess on the one hand, they both know that he's changed her, and it's not like he needs to be reaffirmed, I guess. And she knows that it's hard, and it's hard for both of them because she feels that way partially too. So, on the one hand, maybe that's why she's also okay with not reaffirming that some of the changes were for the better that he instilled into her. But at the same time, I still think it would be right for her to do it as a send-off. Destroyed mountain is now a flat field. Dawn is in the distance. The horizon is shining in gleaming gold. Dash, 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 dash. My left hand hurts. My last command spell disappears. That makes me accept that the curtains have been drawn. Is that it, Saber? You go out without another word? This definitely feels like a first pathway ending and not a golden ending. We don't even permanently know if we beat it or grumble, grumble. She doesn't even go out saying thank you, Shiro, for everything or anything.
これで終わったのですね。
Oh, she's not gone yet. Well, maybe she has a chance to say something then. So, everything is over?
あ、これで終わりだ。もう何も残ってない。
Yeah, this is it. There's nothing left.
そうですか。では私たちの契約もここまでですね。あなたの剣となり、敵を撃ち、近江を守った。
I see. Then our contract is at an end. I became your sword, defeated your enemies, and protected you. I like that she's not in her armor for this. Because, you know, it's arguably the middle ground, you could say. You know, what Shiro wanted, this Saber sexual, was Saber in her, you know, regular clothes that Rin gave her. Wanted her to just be the normal girl, ignore the king's side. And then the full king is with the armor, and you sort of take the armor off and you argue it's kind of a middle ground, I'd say. And so I feel like that's why it's sort of fitting for her to end here clothing-wise. It fits the thematic of ending in the middle ground.
この約束を果たせてよかった。
I'm glad to have fulfilled this promise. They're both trying hard to ignore it, I think, because it's not just Shiro that's a Saber-sexual. Saber has totally become a Shiro-sexual at this point, and they're both fighting hard to ignore it, so that's why neither one really wants to say anything. But I feel like if this pathway knows what it's doing, then they'll end on one of them, probably Saber, being like, however, before the final send-off.
そうだな。セイバーはよくやってくれた。
Yeah, you did well, Saber. Nothing more needs to be said. Nothing more needs to be said, but it can be. Saber is far and away, and I do not run to her. The morning sun rises. And now she has to turn around before she disappears, though, I feel, to send this off properly. Even if she says nothing, she should at least turn around smiling or whatever. The halted wind begins again. A goal that seems to last forever. In it.
最後に
Good,
一
good,
つだ
good.
け伝えないと。
This is a good. You're doing the good. In the end, there is one thing I must tell you. She says in a voice filled with determination.
あ
What
あ
is
ど
it?
うな
I reply like always with my best bluff. Still ignoring the truth? Oh, this is your hardest, your biggest moment of ignoring the truth. But in this case, it's more... For once, you're ignoring the truth for, I guess, a greater good, rather than just protecting... Instead of just ignoring the greater good, ignoring the truth for your own peace of mind, you're more ignoring it for someone else's sake. Saber's body wavers. She's facing me. She looks straight at me and in a voice without regret.
シロ、あなたを愛している。
Good! You needed to do that. Otherwise, this pathway would have ended wrong. Shiro, I love you. Says those words. Wind blows. I close my blinded eyes and open them again. And then she's gone. Okay, that was really well done. Dash, 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 dash. I don't think there's any surprise. I kind of saw this coming. That our parting would be like this. An open field fills my eyes. Even I, oh wise, even I, not a Saber X Shiro fan, love this farewell? Well, that says a lot. Oh, only time in the pathway where you teared up? Well, I didn't tear up, I'm a big boy. No. It's good, but, you know, I've been feeling the Saber Shiro romance for a long time, so. As the wind blew, the nights disappeared. I'm also one who doesn't tend to tear up immediately at stuff like this. It tends to come to me over time. Like, I can feel something building a little right now. Just as she appeared, leaving no trace.
ああ本当にお前らしい
Yeah, it really is just like you. There are no regrets in my voice. I feel like there would have been, if she hadn't done that, I think there would have been unresolved tension in the air. I squint at the rising sun, keeping everything I lost close to my heart. I stare at the horizon, wishing never to forget, and for it to never fade away. A distant land glowing in sunlight, resembling the golden fields she ran through. Credits? Do we get credits here? Epilogue. Oh boy, okay. Bring it on. Do I have to click something? I hear a sound. Is this still Shiro, or have we switched perspectives? Because the prologue wasn't Shiro's perspective. I hear the sound of the old, heavy, rusted door of the shed open. Shiro's shed? Light comes into the dark shed. Light comes in, it's all light. Dash, 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 dash. I start to wake up.
先輩、起きてますか?
Is that Sakura? Are you not dead? How do you feel about your brother being dead? Are we gonna talk about that? Senpai, are you awake? I don't even need to check who's here. Oh, so it's time already. Taking a breath, I open my eyes.
おはようございます、先輩。そろそろ時間ですよ。
Good morning, Senpai. It's almost time to wake up. Hello again, Sakura. You're not dead. So, it was all a dream. Yeah, sure. So that's the question. Is this epilogue afterwards? Maybe it is all a dream, but I don't believe that's what they're doing. If that is what they're doing, then I'll renege basically everything I'm about to say. But, so let's talk about that for a second. It's kind of, I was sort of, once they hit into the epilogue and someone was walking in, I didn't want to say it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, are they going to do Sakura here? And they did Sakura. I didn't want to say it because I'm like, no, I was still predicting there's some plot twist and they don't want to show us her. But it does work on a lot of levels. But it does raise questions of the plot twist that I think could be happening. The fact they didn't show her for so long, it felt, especially with her relations to Shinji, it felt like there was some looming plot twist. But if there is, this definitely changes the potential of what that plot twist could be. Because Caster's master is supposed to be dead, assuming she's telling the truth. Theoretically, Assassin's master is dead, but we don't necessarily know that for sure. So I guess there's the possibility she's Assassin's master. Or there's the possibility she somehow came back to life with some kind of resurrection bullshit. Or, you know, maybe there's no plot twist with her, but I'm really feeling some strong plot twist with her. So it's also possible, depending on how trippy the game wants to get, it's possible that in other pathways, circumstances of the past are altered by the pathway we're on in the present. And if they do that, then it could even be like, oh, Shinji is Rider's master in this pathway, but Sakura is Rider's master in this pathway. It's not an impossibility. Depends on how they want to do things. I feel like something's up with Sakura. Just based on how long she was just absent from the story, despite how important she was in the early game, how much connected she was to Shinji, and then how we just didn't follow through on that at all. I feel like the only reason as an author to do that is either because you're stupid and don't know what you're doing, or you're hiding a plot twist. So, I'm going to assume it's hiding a plot twist for the time being. Good morning, Senpai. It's almost time to wake up.
そうみたいだ。おはよう、さくら。起こしに来てくれて、サンキューな。
Or you might be doing something thematic. And I guess seeing Sakura after so long with the battle being over is something thematic. It just clashes with the Shinji. If Shinji wasn't, if Shinji wasn't her brother and so important and freaking dead and we never followed up on that, then I could just see this as being a thematic element of, oh, this is the return to the norm of getting Sakura back. We left the norm when Sakura left and returned to the norm here. But because of the Shinji connection, it just feels too unlikely that it's just thematic. Thanks for waking me up.
お礼を言われることじゃありません。先輩ならきちんと起きてくれるって分かってましたから。
No.
私は余計なことをしただけなんです。
It's nothing you need to thank me for. I knew you'd wake up properly, so I only did a needless thing.
そっか。けど、ならなんでわざわざ起こしに来てくれたんだ？
I see. Then why did you come to wake me up?
わざわざじゃありません。今朝は先輩を起こしたくなって、いつもより30分も早起きしたんです。
Oh? I wanted to wake you up today. So I woke up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Today's a special day, you know. Oh, is it? What's today, huh? The 1-year anniversary of the Grail War, or Shiro's birthday, or what is it? Oh. That reminds me. That's right, today is a special day. What's so special about it, Shiro?
さくら、聞くまでもないと思うんだが、藤音はまだ来てないよな。
Fuji's birthday? No, Sakura, I don't think I need to ask, but Fujine isn't here yet, right?
はい、内村先生はまだ。
Ilya!
でも、イリアちゃんは先に来てます。
Hey, you finally met Ilya, Sakura. I don't know if you've met her yet, because Rin shooed you out of the house before you got a chance. This is definitely after the fact. No, Fujimura-sensei isn't here yet, but Ilya-chan's already here. As I thought. Ilya being the only one here means one thing.
まずい。 さくら、すまないんだけど朝食の支度を頼む。俺ひとっ走りして藤根を叩き起こしてくる。
Crap, sorry Sakura, but can you take care of breakfast? I'll go and wake Fujine up. Okay, so Sakura's coming over. Elia's still staying at my place, I guess. I don't know if she's always here or just coming for some party or something because it's a special day, but... So now do we have 4 girls normally in my house? I wonder if Rin's gone back at least to her place at this point. Elia might want to stay, or maybe Shiro would be like, no, the war's over, go back to your place, and she would technically be living at her place, but be visiting way too often. Could be a thing that happens. I mean, technically that's what Sakura does too, you could argue. She lives technically with Shinji, but still visits all the time. And also, Shinji's fucking dead. Are we going to talk about that in this epilogue? If we do, then maybe there's no secret plot twist. There still might be, but if we don't, there's definitely a secret plot twist.
はい、ご苦労様です、先輩。
Oh yes, sorry for your trouble, senpai. Fortunately, I worked late last night as well, so I'm still in my work clothes. It's good I can go outside without having to change.
10分で戻るから、あとはよろしく頼む。
I'll be back in 10 minutes, so I'll leave the rest to you.
はい、任せちゃってください。
Yes, please do. It does work on a thematic level. You know, Sakura being the childhood friend, the friend of normalcy, the friend of non-war, the one real non-war friend. I mean, there's Taiga too, but she got ousted a little whiles ago, around the Shinji time too, because she got hospitalized. And then both her and Taiga kind of get ousted, and her returning... Taiga we've kind of had through the Taiga dojos at least. And then her returning in the epilogue does thematically work. It's just the whole Shinji connection and such really puts a thorn in that theoretical through line.
あれ、シロ起きてる。
Oh, Shiro's awake. Hello, Elia.
あ、今起きた。ちょっと藤根を起こしてくるから、さくらの手伝いをしてやってくれ。
Yeah, I just woke up. I'm gonna go wake Fujine, so help Sakura, will you? We haven't seen these two interact at all. Elia and Sakura, I wonder what their first meeting was like. Do you have any lasting effects after the Grail fight you? Are you good now, Elia? And how's Rin doing? Apparently when she's not dead. So far, I see no point in the narrative to her not being dead, but I guess if she shows up in the epilogue, there's a point. Even then, though, it'll depend on what her importance in the epilogue is. I mean, I don't know, it's just because her death scene, which wasn't apparently a death scene, was so well done that I don't see... I mean, this might be weird for some people's perspectives, but I don't see why she couldn't have just died. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if the epilogue changes my mind. Patting Elia on her shoulder, I head to the front entrance. Don't mind Rin living, because we give me Rin x Shiro. Nah, I don't know, I think Rin Shiro is better as friends necessarily than as a couple. Granted, that's this pathway bias, so... And Ilia best waifu, of course, always.
やられた。もう、シロは私が起こしに行くって言ったでしょ。
Oh, that's their interaction. That's their interaction. I got beat. Jeez, I told you I'm gonna wake Shiro up, Sakura. That's why she woke 30 minutes early. She has to beat Ilia to the punch. Oh, that's fun. That's the kind of interaction that I don't believe Rin would ever have with them, despite her also, of course, wanting Shiro's loins. This is one way I don't think she'd interfere in the waking Shiro up early department. Ilia runs to the shed screaming. I love it. Such a scene, isn't that unusual now? Ilia said she wouldn't go back to her country, so I consulted Fujine, see if I could keep her at my place. Oh, fuck, she's just living with us now? Cool. I mean, she has her mansion, but I guess, to be fair, there were, like, people there running that and stuff, right? Yeah, Ren isn't a morning person, that's true, too. There were people there, running her place and stuff, right? So maybe they, like, moved away when the war was over, the Ainsburns. So maybe she pulled a Kiritsugu and is just, I'm gonna get the fuck away from the Ainsburns. Like, father like daughter? Still haven't fully covered that, you know. That's for another pathway, I suppose. Fujine really objected. Said her house was better and ended up taking Ilia in. Oh, wait, she's living with Fuji? Or is that just an excuse to keep our loins separated? Fuji objected. Oh, because technically neither Fuji or Sakura actually live with me right now. Rin, I assume, isn't living with me. She's probably gone back to living at her own place. Sakura, I assume, lives at... I don't know if she'd want to live at her own place, though, with her fucking dead brother not fucking dead, being dead. But, I don't know. And in that case, Ilya being the only one to live with me would be a little scant, so I could see why Fuji would say something like that. That is the responsible thing to do as a responsible person. So good on Fuji, I guess, for being responsible. Since then, still staying at the Fujimura house, Ilya comes attacking with Fujine at morning and at night. Attacking. Needless to say, their target is breakfast and dinner. Maybe that's Taiga's, but I think Ilya is targeting more than just the food. It's been 2 months since they started living together, and they seem to be in union now. Oh, that's fitting because of the Taiga dojo. Oh, their union, it makes a lot of sense. Wow, that's kind of cute how that works out in hindsight. It felt kind of weird how Ilya was just in the Taiga dojos. Like, it made sense for the first couple that I got because they were when Ilya killed me, so I assumed whoever killed me would be with Taiga. And then that didn't end up happening at all, and it was just Ilya, which is cool, but it was interesting. And then post-wise, they're saying they're living together now, even though they never really met during the course of the game? Same thing with Ilya Rin. I don't believe Ilya Taiga ever met. And yet it makes a lot of sense it just makes a lot of sense that it would happen that way naturally, even though they never met. So I kind of like how that works in hindsight. When I walk past the shed area, I hear voices over the wall. It's Sakura and Ilya talking. Oh boy. I thought Ilya would not get along with Sakura, since Ilya has that really unreserved personality, but I was wrong. Oh, really? I mean, I think they're both less fight-oriented than Rin is, so... Really unreserved? I mean, Ilya can be reserved. I feel like she can go both ways. She was raised to be reserved, but her inner personality is more unreserved, I suppose. I feel like the reserved is more a mask that she's good at putting on, but doesn't necessarily care for as much. But she can when she thinks it'll win some seduction points with Shiro. The two consisting of the energetic Ilya and the quiet Sakura getting along well, even though they're rather noisy. That's an interesting interaction. I guess they both, they both feel like they were... I can see why they'd relate, because they both feel like they were saved by Shiro in a way. Rin's introduction to the Shiro was different, because Rin was the one who saved Shiro. You could argue that Shiro then returned the favor by stopping Saber from killing Archer, but that wasn't really saving Rin. Wait, no, it was, because Saber was going to kill fucking Rin. No, that was going to happen. That's right. That's right. Saber actually did, fuck up Archer and was going to kill Rin. Oh, that's right. Back when Saber was... I guess that's because she literally just came off of Fate Zero and was like, nope. No mercy. Still, Rin saved Shiro first, so it's a bit different. Main waifu is gone, so now Shiro is anyone's game. Yeah. Who are you gonna pick, Shiro? I know who I'd pick. In fact, Sakura's regaining her spirit because of Ilya. Oh, regaining her spirit after her brother's death? Is that what you're talking about? Sakura stopped smiling when her brother, Mato Shinji, disappeared, and was considered missing? You just think he's missing? We're not even gonna go over the fact that he's, dead? Which, Ilya killed him, by the way, and Shiro should know that. So this is kind of awkward, actually. To be fair, Shinji was probably not a healthy influence on Sakura. However, it's still, even in an unhealthy relationship like that, if someone's not ready to lose the other party, they could go in a very bad direction. So it's kind of really funny that Ilya's the one who's mentally helping her out of that, when Ilya was the one who put her in that situation, but arguably she shouldn't have been with Shinji in the first place. So it's sort of an unhealthy way to heal from an unhealthy situation, but it's only unhealthy because they don't realize the truth. And as long as Sakura never finds out the truth, it should be fine. But if she does find out the truth, it could really fuck things up. She must have vaguely understood the connection with the mass coma incident at the school. That's right, there was a mass coma, which I guess Sakura was involved in, and she just assumed that Shinji was a greater extent of that. I mean, Shinji was involved, but, you know, I guess we're just not going to tell her the truth. And eventually she's just going to accept that he's gone forever, which is maybe for the best because he was a douche, but you know basically the truth. It's debatable if it's for the best to say anything to her. Maybe not until later. I don't know. It's only because Ilya makes the interaction awkward. If Sakura ever somehow finds out about Ilya, if we still had a Kirai running around, I mean, I guess Kirai's dead, but if we still did, who could potentially whisper sweet nothings into Sakura's ear and go, Ilya killed him, and Shiro knew and didn't say anything, that could really fuck up the whole dynamic, so I almost feel we should come clean, maybe not immediately, but sooner rather than later. Obviously, we don't have to tell the whole truth about the Grail War, but we can dance around the issue, but also still make it kinda clear. She was worried about the missing Shinji and moped for a long time. It was Ilya who forcibly made Sakura get over it, and Sakura gains her cheerfulness when Ilya is around. That's kind of fucked up, but okay. I don't mind because it's Ilya.
Sakura, 笑えるようになったよな。
Yeah, Sakura's able to laugh now. Able to laugh now that Shinji's gone. Thanks, Ilya, for killing the bitch. It is a rather awkward situation. I still think there's something... There's almost certainly still something going on with Sakura, I think. Not going over it at the time could be argued just for the thematic through line when she comes back in the epilogue, but... and that is there, but I think that's more a red herring. I'm purely happy for that. Yeah, because at the beginning, Sakura was arguably the most important person in your life before Saber showed up, so... Is she back to being number one? Because that soft smile certainly suits her. Oh, that's right. Shiro considers himself happy. That's a new one. Thank you, Grail War, for making Shiro happy. You're mean, Ilya-chan. I even gave you a special bonus to wake me up no matter what. Aw, Taiga. Ilya just wanted to wake up Shiro, though. She's still the Shiro-sexual. Fujine scoffs down breakfast while crying. As far as the circumstances of him being happy, though, I'm purely happy for that. It's still him being happy for someone else's happiness, which is something that he didn't want from Saber. He didn't want Saber just be happy because of other people's happiness. It's a start, don't get me wrong, but being happy for his own sake is still something you'd want for the most better-ist part. Fujine scoffs down breakfast while crying.
当然よ。タイガーを待ってたら私まで遅れるし、給金分は義理を果たしたわ。あれ以上の働きを要求するなら、臨時じゃなくて基本給をアップさせることね。
Wait, what's she getting paid to do? Wait, what? I gave you special bonus to wake me up no matter what? Getting over a decade of trauma will probs take the rest of his life? Yeah, that's true. It's only natural. And here's the reserved front coming up again. You know, when the unreserved front isn't the most useful. I'll be late too if I wait for Taiga. Interesting how you're referring to in third person. And I worked enough for what I got paid for. If you want more out of me, you should raise the base pay and not just give me a special pay. Oh shoot. The frickin' negotiator. That's why she's using the reserved version. She's trying to get more money. Ilya's been basically handed everything all her life, so I wonder how she's adjusting to this idea of getting paid. Because even if she's getting a little babied by Taiga, she wouldn't be getting fully babied given how, you know, Shiro's had to cope with being the adult in the relationship, even though Taiga's the adult.
私だけじゃなくおじい様からももらってるくせにどうしてこの子は主戦度なのかしら。
Oh, So from the Taiga Dawn. The Taiga Dawn has given us some money. So it used to be that... It used to be that she got it from the Einsbuns. Now she gets it from the Taiga Dawn. Okay. Why are you such a miser when you're getting paid from grandfather as well? His support network is bigger and stronger now with Ilya and Rin. Yeah, whatever happening is going on with Rin anyways. Is she really going to be healthy after that? It feels like it would be awkward with the whole, you know, Kirei incident. She probably, you know, still feels uncomfortable with how Archer went out. Ilya, new mafia boss. Yeah, I like it. It's just interesting what's going on with Rin. Because she feels almost... It seems most likely that she'd be the one who'd exit that whole situation the most unhealthy. But maybe not. Maybe because of the friend network that she's developed and stuff. She could potentially move forward. We'll have to see her, see how she's faring right now. She still had some unresolved questions about Shio for sure, and the weirdness of him though, so we'll have to see if she's moved past that. Ilya and Taiga Yakuza's adventures will be awesome.
若い頃からお金にうるさいと周りの子に嫌われちゃうぞ
Everyone would hate you if you're stingy about money from such a young age. Of course she is. She's been coddled all her life, so of course she is going to expect more money.
嫌われて結構よ。好きな人以外なら何を思われても関係ないもの。それよりタイガ貸したお金ちゃんと返してよね。
Ilya really is.
5日前だったんでしょ。
She really is the mafia boss now. I don't care if I'm hated. I don't care what people besides the ones I like think of me. Oh, you mean Shio. And Taiga, pay me back the money I let you borrow. Your payday was 5 days ago, right? Yeah, it really is the mafia boss. It's great. And it makes sense that she'd be, you know, she's more responsible because of prepping for the Grail War and having to be all strategic and stuff. It makes sense that she'd be good with her money and Taiga'd be kind of sloppy.
なんでそんなこと知ってるのよあなた
How do you know that?
タイガに聞いたわ。お望みなら明細まで話してあげてよ。
I heard from Raiga. I can give you the details as well if you wish. That's great. Ilya back to being best girl. Ilya smiles daringly. In contrast to Sakura, Ilya and Fujine do not get along well. Nah, it just appears that way on the surface. I mean, they live together, so they have to get along well to an extent. And to add, Ilya gets really mean when she faces Fujine. That smile right now is like that certain someone. Oh, you mean Rin and her evil smile? In front of you? I think with Ilya, it's a bit more playful than Rin's, where I think she's definitely more mad.
返済は明日までね。できなかったらタイガのお小遣いから引いていくから。
That's great. You have until tomorrow to repay me. If you can, I'll just take it away from your allowance. That's fucking great. I love it. It's interesting that it's something that she thought, Taiga thought that Ilya didn't know about though, which is interesting. I don't care if I'm hated. Pay me back the money I let you borrow. How do you know that? How do you know? Because Ilya let you borrow it. It does seem kind of odd that somehow Taiga thinks Ilya wouldn't know. So maybe the wording is a little off there, but I don't know. Just seems odd. Heard from Raiga. I can give you the details as well if you wish. Heard from Raiga? Oh, maybe that she used up the money and doesn't have the money to give back. There's some details left out there. I get the idea, but Taiga meant her having the money? Yeah, I guess at the moment she doesn't.
おじいさまそんなことまであなたに話したの
Grandfather told you even that? Ilya's becoming the new heir of the Taiga name.
お昼はずっと一緒だもん。ライがね、タイガより可愛いって褒めてくれたわ。
Oh, that's great. Yes, we're together all noon. Raiga praised me that I'm much cuter than Taiga. Taiga's being replaced. First she was being replaced as Shio's protector by Saber, and now she's being replaced as Raiga's cute little person to coddle.
どうしてくれるのよシロ この子とんだ悪魔っ子じゃない。このままじゃ藤村組が乗っ取られるわ。
Sounds good to me. What are you gonna do about it, Shiro? This girl's such a devil, she'll take over the Fujiwara group if you let her be. A cute front with a cruel streak would be great as Yakuza Harris compared to Taiga. Yeah. Taiga's a bit too, plays around a little bit too much, I think. She's got the cute, but maybe not as much the cruel. Or the cruel she does have is more just in a prankster form and not something she's able to take as seriously as Ilya. Dash, 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 dash. Actually, more than that. You were still getting allowance at that age? You should be long past that, Tiger. You should be grateful you're getting any.
いってらっしゃいシロ。今日は早いんでしょ。ならここで待ってるからすぐに帰ってきてね。
See you, Shiro. You're gonna be back early today, right? So we're leaving? I'm leaving my own house, but you guys are staying. Then I'll be waiting here, so come home right away. You're not coming with me, though. Because you know it's something important for me. Am I going to some special site? Am I going to the ruin where... the saber-sexual ruin? Or am I going to the shed? It sounds like I'm going somewhere far away. Am I going to school? Am I going to school? That's what you mean. I'm going to school. School exists. Wait, Taiga will be going too then, right? So come home right away. I'll be waiting. Okay, we're going to school. I think I understand.
努力する。留守番よろしくな、イリア。
I'll try. Take care while I'm gone. So even if she's not necessarily living with me, she still gets to hold down the fort while we're at school. Is that right?
いっそのことここの子になっちゃえバカ。
You might as well live here, you idiot. I mean, she probably wishes she could. Oh, this is her way of punishing you. Her way of getting in good with your father and messing up the Fujimura group and your Taiga name because you forced her to live with you instead of Shiro. It's her vengeance in her cute way. I love it. Fujine sulks while hiding behind my back.
はいはい。タイガも気を引き締めなさいよね。外でシロに迷惑かけちゃダメなんだから。
Yeah, yeah. You should get yourself together too. You can't cause Shiro trouble outside. Ilya easily turns aside her remark. The power relationship must already be at a position where Fujine can't push back by force. It's great.
じゃあ先に行ってるけどのんびり歩いて遅刻しちゃダメよシロ。
Is that our first time seeing her with the motorcycle helmet? I want to say it is. I mean, seems in character for her, but I don't know that we've learned that yet. Or if we have, I don't know if we've seen her at least with the helmet in this picture. And I'll be going ahead, but don't walk slow and be late for school. Leaving the sound of exhaust, Fujine disappears like a bullet. And is Sakura still walking with us to school? Fujine got her license a month ago. Oh, okay, so that's a new thing. It seems like a her thing, but she didn't get it until just now. Alright. Since then, her tardiness decreased considerably. Oh, because even though she wakes up late, she at least has the motorcycle. But she's received another nickname of Rocket Tiger. I mean, Rocket Diver, that only she doesn't know about. Rocket Tiger? Rocket Tiger works just fine. Rocket Diver? I guess that works fine too, but Rocket Tiger, I mean, I don't know. Phew. I stretch out and take a deep breath. Sakura's gone to school already. Oh, okay, she went to school early? I see. So she got up early to wake me up and then went immediately. Seeing how she was eating a large bowl of rice today, it seems she's in real high spirits. Today's the big day for the archery club. Oh, that's right, archery club coming back. Are you going to join up the archery club again? Because, you know, you weren't part of that for... Weren't you part of the archery club and then quit? That's right, you were an archer. And then archer never really taught you archery, but then you tried to help out with archery during the Berserker fight. And it didn't work out much, so you had to go, I'm actually secretly a swordsman. Sakura must be enthusiastic to work hard as the co-captain of the archery club. And that's right, we're gonna maybe get to see, nope, I do not remember her name. Gonna get to see, Ayako again.
さて、それじゃ。
Well then, I'm off. Soja. Let's go to school. Let's? Who's let's? Who am I going to school with? You're alone. Today is April 7th. What is the significance of that day? Hold on. What was the day we were just doing? It was meant to be it doesn't say the day. Wait, no. 15th. It just says 15th day. It doesn't say the day. Okay. Today is April 7th. There's the school entrance ceremony. And there's the school entrance the first day of school. I see. Cuz right, school starts with the it aligns, the start of school aligns with the tax season. Yeah. So they consider it the start of the school year. I knew that. There's a school entrance ceremony, and the season is past the cold winter and already into spring. It's been 2 months since then. It feels like a lot has changed since she's gone away, but I think the changes are trivial. Winter ended and spring came. That's all that's changed. Wait, what? I feel like I've grown up a bit, but it's not like that caused me to be any different. What? I feel like a lot has changed since she's gone away, but the changes are trivial. Oh, that's all that's changed. That's a lot. I mean, I think the lot that has changed is within you, Shiro. It's not... I've grown up a bit, but it's not like that's caused me to be any different. I'm still the same, it's just the insides are different. I still do the same things, but the motivations are different. That's still probably for the best in the long run. Because, you know, for the after-school special, that is. What you do after school is over. After you're past the school part of your life. So not much has changed. Shiro is clumsily running after Kiritsugu as usual. But maybe now you're genuinely running after him without the fire clouding your past. Morning, Emiya-kun. It's unexpected to see you in the morning. And how are you doing, Rin? Feels like you'd arguably be the most unhealthy post-war, given the circumstances, given how Kirei messed you up, given how, you know, you were all about the fight, and you never got to even fully resolve the fight. You didn't get to be part of the final battle at all, despite how much you seemingly wanted it. Feels like there's a lot of unresolved stuff with you, so I'm glad to see you're at least, you know, you didn't end it all at the end of the war. But also, you know, you could have just had it ended, you know, if you just died instead of went to sleep and in that whole exchange. But let's see. It sure is a good day today, Tosaka. Is it? Also, unexpected to see me in the morning. Rin, you're not a morning person either. And again, I guess we do have to walk to school, so... Unexpected to see you in the morning? Is it? Why? Who usually gets here first? Me or you? On the way to school. I raise my hand and greet her. Is it really unexpected? We're barely missing each other recently. Well, I certainly didn't come across you too many times before. Maybe the reason they're barely missing each other is because Rin's planning her exits to line up with walking to school with Shiro, with the master chess master she is. Still playing the long game now that Saber's out of the picture, which she predicted all along, I think. Which is why Rin was sort of okay to maybe ship them a little bit. Are you still playing that game, Rin? Are you? Come across? Tosaka glares at me as if unhappy about something. What, you think our meetings were more meaningful than just coming across? You're putting more meaning into the meetings than I am? Because I was more of a healthy addition to your life than you were to mine, huh? I don't think it's good to send an aura of enmity first thing in the morning. I can't die, Shiro's gonna be free once the war is over. I mean, I guess that's one thing you could potentially do after the war. If, you know, your fight mentality is done, I suppose we could have potentially gotten her over that. But I still feel like there's some development that we certainly missed if she did get over past it.
Tosaka, もしかして登校時間変えたのか? 前はもうちょっと遅かっただろう。早すぎず遅すぎずって時間だった。
Tosaka, did you change the time you leave your house? You came later before, right? You came at a time that wasn't too late or too early.
そんなことないわよ。今まで顔を合わせなかったのは偶然でしょ。
She's lying. Okay. That's not true. I bet it's only coincidence that we didn't see each other until now. She started planning her leavings. She did get up later, and now she's getting up earlier so that she can walk to school with Shiro. 100%. She's still playing the long game.
知ってる？エミヤ君と私の家、きっかり正反対の位置にあるの。だから普通に起きて普通に坂を降りれば、ここで顔を合わせるのは当然ってわけ。
That's a fun fact. Did you know? My house and your house are in the exact opposite locations. So if we get up and go down the hill, it's only natural that we meet here. Well, yeah, if we leave at the same time, which I think you're now starting to plan meticulously. Oh? Rin has seemingly been doing a lot in the background of this pathway, and her development has been a lot more subtle. Yeah, it's been a lot less on the nose, and, if the development's been happening, any major development has definitely happened off-screen. Definitely a lot of unresolved stuff that almost certainly would be more resolved in another pathway. It's just, did the development actually happen and we didn't see it? I feel to an extent it did, otherwise she'd be more mopey, but she could still be mopey underneath and not on the surface. But if she was mopey underneath, I don't know if she'd be going out of her way to match schedules like this. She could if she's desperate for the Shiro, and that's the only thing she's clinging on to and is still unhealthy in that sense, which is possible. We just don't see deep down because Shiro's at the moment still a bit thick to figure that out. Maybe in a few months' time when he fully gets himself over the whole war incident.
それは初耳だ。そうか、それなら確かに。
Yeah, Shiro's never thought about it. Rin has put thought into it. That's the first time I've heard that. I see. That would certainly... Wait, hold on. That's only if we do the same things around the same time. For Tosaka to come to this intersect... Oh, he's being smart now! Shiro's being smart now! He's not ignoring the truth! He's looking into the things! For Tosaka to come to this intersection at this time, she would have to get up at 6. But that's...
登坂、お前眠くない？
Tosaka, you're not sleepy? Ask her directly.
何よその言い分。私は眠くもないし、無理もしてないわ。
What do you mean by that? I'm not sleepy nor pushing myself. 100%. She didn't think I'd notice. She thought I was the dumb, but after the war I've developed, I'm starting to accept the inner things that maybe I want to, shy away from. So I am now at least somewhat the smart.
なんだってそんなこと聞くわけ？
Why do you ask such a thing? But does Rin like it more or less when I'm the smart than when I was the dumb? Questions. She probably enjoys the dance either way, but I think, a change of pace in the dance is probably good for her, especially if she still has some unresolved issues. Shiro's now reached average IQ. Success!
いや、お前朝弱かったから。
Well, you weren't a morning person.
寝不足で学校に行くと化けの皮が剥がれるぞ。授業中に居眠りなんかしたら大変だ。
You'll unmask your true self if you go to school with lack of sleep. It'll be terrible if you fall asleep during class.
下手に起こそうものなら寝起きの悪魔みたいな顔した登坂が暴れるんだからな。
I bet you'll rage around with a face like an awakened demon if someone tries to wake you up. Yeah, that does sound like Rin. But she's been doing it for the last couple days, right? Probably because she's starting to get into the rhythm. So as long as she's going to sleep earlier, it's okay to wake up earlier. Like, I will kill all that deserves my sleep kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. Is E and I next to each other on the keyboard? No, his EQ. If you mean IQ, I don't know how you made the mistake, how you mistaked up E and I. They're very far away from each other on the keyboard-wise. Yeah, he seems much better at reading people now because he's willing to read them and not ignore the truth. He probably could have read them in the past, but was like, nope, I don't want to think about it. Nope, nope. I don't want to ignore anything that could potentially be bad. So he's accepting that stuff more now, which lets him be more smarter. Now we just need another Grail War so we can actually be smart during it. Yes!
そんなことしないわよ。たかだか30分の早起きで深くなんて取るものですか？
I won't do such a thing. I won't make such a mistake just by waking up 30 minutes early. IQ, brainy stuff. EQ, emotional stuff. Oh, I don't know if I've ever heard that before. Hold on, is that true? Wait, I gotta Google this. Wise is hitting me with the facts. EQ versus IQ. EQ and IQ are terms that are often confused and mistakenly used with each other. IQ is known as intelligence quotient. It's a measure of a person's relative intelligence. Emotional quotient, also known as EQ. Ah, never heard of that. Okay, cool. You unmask it. Well, yeah, he's better with both of his stuff for sure. Rin, I think, is gonna act more tsundere when he's confronting her about this stuff that she maybe doesn't want to be confronted about. But I think that just makes the dere even stronger. The stronger the Tsun, the stronger the dere, maybe. Ugh.
ほら早起きしてるじゃないかやっぱり
See, you did wake up early. The blush. The blush! Dash, dash, dash.
もう人の起床時間なんてどうでもいいでしょ。つまんない詮索をしてる暇があるならさっさと学校に行きなさい。
Geez, quit worrying about when other people get up. If you have time to inquire about such boring things, just go to school. Just go to school alone, mean, without you? You just want me to go alone? You want me to walk alone? You want to walk with me, is that it? Tosaka gets angry while looking away. Oh, tsunderes. Her excuse is plausible, so I stop my greeting here and we resume our way to school. Excuse is plausible, yeah. Better stop digging at this point. You know what's up. You at least bothered to ask the question. You didn't necessarily need to ask the question. You could have just kept it all to yourself. But, I guess as the smartness comes out, it's coming out all at once. So the questions are coming to the surface, whereas before you were keeping them deep down. So I feel like it's fine to know the things and not say them. Because you've been not saying them and not acting on them for so long, it might cause you to instinctually want to say them more now. I guess there's some truth in that. We go up the hill. The streets and houses below me have all changed to show the coming of spring. The wind is comfortable and the cherry blossom flowers flutter down occasionally from the school on top of the hill. Everything that can be seen and felt is pleasant.
何？今週はほとんどバイトなの？
Do you have work all this week, or can we go on a date? Also, why is today special again? Oh, it's special because it's the first day of school, or is there something more special? Is it the 2-month anniversary?
まあ、エミヤくんの時間だから文句はないけど、そんなんで体壊さない？
I won't complain since it's your time, but don't you get sick like that?
ねいや今日ぐらいは休みをもらったよ
Aw, Ren worrying about me getting sick? No, I got today off. Oh shit, you got today off for your special thing that you have to do today. What's the special thing?
弓道部で新入部員の歓迎会をやるっていうからイリアを連れて遊びに行こうかなと
Oh, Ilya's gonna be there. Interesting. Is that the special thing? I heard that the archery club is doing a welcome party for the new members, so I'm thinking of going with Ilya. How's Rin gonna react to, the fact that Shiro and Ilya are so chumming now?
なんかさりげにすごい度胸してるわよね、あなたって。平気な顔してイリアを学校に連れて行くあたり大物だわ。
Wow, you have some great guts. You're a big shot for taking Ilya to school with an unconcerned face. Yeah, Rin still, I think, to an extent cares about that appearance, keeping up the Tosaka name. I think she's been loosened somewhat by Shiro, but, some of that's still going to be innate. Whereas Shiro still has that whole not really caring thing. He's still, I don't know if he's still calling people oh my, but he was calling his close friends oh my, as rude as that freaking is. So, yeah, not one to care much about what other people think of him.
なんかまずいかイリアだって暇つぶしになるって喜ぶと思うんだが
Is it bad? I think it'll let Ilya kill some time, and it should make her happy.
まずいわよ。まずいけど、そういうことなら私もお邪魔しようかな。イリアがいるなら退屈しないし、何より危なっかしくって放っておけない。
It's bad, it's bad. But I guess I'll show up as well then. Yeah, you can't leave Ilya alone with Shiro during special events too often, or you're gonna lose your waifu shot. It won't be boring if Ilya's gonna be there, and most of all, I just can't leave her alone because it's too dangerous. I'm thankful that she says that. Yeah, you want the whole group together to be there together. Yay! It's Tosaka, not Sakura and me, that understands Ilya the most. Yeah, I would not be too surprised by that, because I said there's a lot of parallels between them, and Tosaka is a smart cookie, so... There's the fact that she periodically takes care of Ilya. Oh, well, and she had to be fair, she was taking care of her while she was cuppifying, so there's that too. More importantly, Ilya and Tosaka are natural-born magi. There's that too, yeah. Lots of the parallels. I think Tosaka would be a good teacher for Ilya, as she doesn't quite realize what it's like to live as a magus while hiding that fact. Wait, I think Ilya's plenty good at being a magus. You're still being way too much of the big brother instinct for Ilya. She can take care of herself. Don't you see her interactions with Taiga? I think they could teach each other some stuff. There's certainly some stuff Rin knows that Ilya doesn't know because of the upbringing, and there's some stuff Ilya almost certainly knows that Rin doesn't know because of the upbringing. She doesn't quite realize what it's like to live as a magus while hiding that fact. Oh, that's true. Tosaka is much better. That's true. As far as teaching that is concerned, yeah. Rin's much better at, living as pretend normal person. Ilya tends to wear everything on her sleeve. She grew up in mostly isolation, so she's not very good at the playing pretend. Rin can teach her to wear the mask, although Ilya has the mask to an extent with her reservedness, but that was more innately brought up, so it was a mask she was sort of forced to wear already. Dash. Thus, things are settling into the way they should be. But damage from the Holy Grail War is almost completely restored by the new priest dispatched by the church. And our everyday life is returned without problems. Are we going to meet that priest, or... There are certainly things that were lost and will not return. But the wounds have slowly healed, and I should be happy about the regrets fading away. Yeah, not sure how much of a quick turnaround Shiro will be, but given how much he clearly loved Artoria, he's definitely not going to be moving on to another girl, probably for at least a couple years, I'd assume, before he starts actually thinking about hitting some other baseball.
けど、意外だったな。
But it was unexpected. What was? Is this a new song? And then, Tosaka murmurs in a serious tone while looking down at the town below her.
意外だったって何が?
What was unexpected?
うん。私、シロはもっと落ち込むと思ってた。
I thought you'd be more depressed. I thought you'd be more depressed, Rin. Unless you had some development off screen, I thought you'd be more depressed. Maybe that's why she's not depressed. It's because she's too busy worrying about Shiro, because now that she's a Shiro-sexual. Yeah, because of how much Shiro loved her, you'd think there would be the depression. But because of how depressed Shiro was beforehand and how much he allowed himself to accept himself during the war, that's why he's so okay now. Despite the terrible heartbreak, he allowed himself during the course of the war to move on from the heartbreaks and the pain, like the pain of the fire that's been dragging him down so long. Being able to move past that, by comparison, I think being able to move past Saber, you could argue that they're equivalent, but I don't even think it's as bad.
しばらくは立ち直れないだろうなって思ってたのよ。
I thought you wouldn't be able to get over it for a while. That's why you've been maybe putting on a brave face? This is about the girl that isn't here anymore. It's been 2 months since then. It's about the golden-haired girl that we talked about for the first time since then. You waited 2 months to bring it up, Ren? Probably because you were scoping his mental state and didn't want to bring it up if it was just going to trigger PTSD, and are only bringing it up now that you realize that he actually is fairly over it? That's rather mature, I think.
そうだな。俺もそうなるだろうって思ってた。その後のことなんて考えるだけでどうかしそうだった。
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was about to go insane just thinking about the future. It's because she said she loved you, I think. That's really what did it. I think if she didn't, you would have been left with those lingering feelings for a lot longer, and it would have ate at you for a lot longer.
けど蓋を開けてみれば白ったら今まで通りだったでしょ。
It
落
turns
ち
out
込
you
むど
didn't.
ころの話じゃなくて次の日にはもうケロリとしてた。
It turns out you didn't change after that. You didn't even get depressed as you were fine the next day. You're gonna call me a cold person now? You know, you were pretty cold after you lost Archer. You didn't seem very affected. Maybe you had some development off screen in a similar light. Maybe not romantically, but maybe you had some kind of send off we didn't see. It didn't feel like it, but I guess it could have just been, you know, the fight personality.
その時にね、こいつ大丈夫かなとも思ったのよ。うまく言えないんだけど、次の日にはあっさり事故で死んじゃうような雰囲気だった。
At the time, I wondered if you were really alright. I can't put this into words real well, but you had the atmosphere of a guy that would die in an accident the next day. You must have done some weird development off screen, because I was thinking more or less the same thing about you, Rin.
なんだそりゃ。なんで平気なのにあっさり死ぬんだよ。
What's that? Why would I easily die when I'm doing well? Yeah, he definitely had the suicidal tendencies beforehand, but now things are different.
そういうこともあるの。人間ってのはね、何かの手違いで一生涯の目標を叶えちゃうと、それでぽっくりいくものなのよ。
Things like that happen. When people accomplish their lifelong goals by mistake, they can suddenly die. Yeah, I mean, I guess his lifelong goal was to beat a supervillain and save a waifu, and he basically did that. So I could see that happening if, you know, if he hadn't seen the basement scene, definitely. Because, you know, theoretically he would have tried to be a superhero and realized there just wasn't anything for it, but... on your end, though, you finally got the Grail War that you were waiting for, and it just ended in a weird, awkward, unresolved way for you. There's a dark version where you're still kind of waiting for the next Grail War and just want to participate in that or prep the next student, and that's all that's on your mind. And that could still be the unhealthy outlook you have. But I hope it's something more resolved than that. If it is, though, then how much will we affect it in your theoretical pathway? In a sense, like, if your baggage is resolved without us even needing to intervene, then what's the greater purpose to even resolving it in your pathway? Debatable.
もう生きるのはいいやと思った途端、赤信号なのに車が突っ込んできたり、あっさりと階段から落ちたりするんだから。
That's talking up fate a bit much. A bit much more than I don't know. I mean, I know it's fate-stained night, but I don't think that's quite how the fate it's referring to. The instant they think like, oh, I don't think I need to live anymore, cars run into them running red lights and they fall downstairs. Wow. Do you really think that, Rin? Is there some magical connection, in your opinion? Okay. Tosaka's metaphor is difficult to understand. She might want to say something about peaceful death and going to heaven or something. Well, there was the whole Kiritsugu being like, hey, Shira, are you going to be good? And then... But that was a bit different because he was being eaten away by the curse, it seems. Which I guess I'm not affected by now because I got rid of all of it with the sheath that I summoned. Because it looked like, I thought that, oh, affected it once. Maybe he was resisting it, but he couldn't completely overcome it. But the sheath should have completely overcame it. But wait, if Kiritsugu had the sheath at the time, shouldn't he have been able to overcome it the same way? Isn't that a bit of a plot hole? Well, I guess Kiritsugu gave the sheath to Shiro before he could... He didn't have it manifested properly. He only had it... Well, he didn't have it inside him. I don't know if Kiritsugu ever had it inside him. I don't remember Fate Zero well enough, but it just feels like if Kiritsugu also had it... if the curse... Maybe he never used it to get rid of the curse. Maybe by the time that the curse got really bad, he had already passed it on to Shiro. That felt a little underdeveloped. The whole, oh, this curse killed him, feels a little underbaked without a proper flashback explaining the details. I think it would have been just fine saying Kiritsugu died from a stress death, even if the curse had nothing to do with it, but anyways.
だから私はそれが心配だった。ああいう時はね、いっそ派手に落ち込んでくれた方が周りは安心するものなの。
So I was worried about that. At times like that, people around you feel more relief if you get really depressed. People around you feel more relief if you get depressed? Oh yeah. It's weird for them to not get depressed when you'd think they would, because it means there's something emotionally wrong with them. And yes, I think to an extent you're right. But you didn't see the basement scene. You weren't there for it, so.
なんだ。じゃあ落ち込んでたら慰めてくれたのか
Oh, then would you have comforted me if I was depressed? Okay. Shiro being the player.
まさか背中に蹴り入れて一日で立ち直らせてやったわよ。そ
Sure.
れができなくて残念だって話。
Sure, Rin. Always, always have to stay a leg up in the, oh, I don't really care about you mentality on the surface. Of course not. I would have kicked you in the back and made you get over it. I'm just saying that it's a bit disappointing since I couldn't do that. Sure, Rin. Sure, that's what you mean. You keep pretending. She looks away in displeasure. You don't like that I'm catching on to your act now, Ren? Her gesture looks so funny that I laugh.
何よ、おかしい？
What, was it strange?
いや、とにかく遠坂らしい厳しいセリフだったんで安
No.
心した。
It was a strict line, surely fitting you, so I feel relieved. Hey, look at that! He's relieved that she's acting normally. We both walk on, looking up at the spring sunlight. The hill is long, and it looks as if it'll continue on into the endless blue sky. And as if saying something trifling, oh, do we not actually get to the school to see the archery stuff? We just talk about it and don't actually see it? Because this feels like they're sending us off here. I thought we were going to go a little further and actually see the archery thing and end on that, but maybe not based on the way they're playing this up.
じゃあもう未練はないんだ。セイバーがいなくなってもさ。
Then you don't have any regrets? With Saber gone and all? Tosaka murmurs while looking up at the sky.
ああ、未練なんてきっとない。
No, I probably don't have any regrets. Yeah, I mean, after all, the whole thing about not wanting to undo the past and what's done is done. If you have regrets and you just wallow in the past, that's the whole thing he was getting over. So, even if there are things that maybe he wished he could have done differently at the time, no point wallowing, focus on the future, right? It's not a bluff, and I say so with a calm state that even surprises me. Good on you, Shiro. There's no regret, and I don't have anything I forgot to tell her. That parting contained everything. What I wanted to do, what she dreamed of. It was a competition of our determination. Maybe I should have taken her hand and granted her dream. But there was something we both felt was beautiful, and we desperately protected it until the very end. Yeah, the wanting to move on and live with the past. Not try to change things and ruin what's already happened, the good and the bad. There's nothing to feel regret about. She's properly ended her time. We assume, if that's how shenanigans with the Grail work. I don't know if that's been properly explained. It felt like she was entered into a contract, and I don't know if it would leave unless the Grail fully is destroyed, which is debatable because it was arguably destroyed in Phase 0, so how is this a permanent destruction? And if it was a permanent destruction, Magic is just gonna they'd fucking be freaking mad, and they'd come up with something else they'd try to summon it again because Magic people are weird. But, you know, let's ignore that for now. We'll deal with that in the true ending. I cannot remain in this reminiscence forever. I will say this ending feels very good for something that I can almost certainly tell is not the final ending. Or if there is a final ending, I'm even more impressed with this. Because it could be that there's just separate endings with how well this is sending off as its own self-contained story. Because something I do kind of find iffy, something that I've found been to be less and less okay with visual novels is when they have a true ending, they use the true ending as a crutch and just be like, let's have all the other endings be, you know, even the ones that aren't bad, just, you know, they don't have to be fully resolved, or we can just make them bleh. I like it when endings can just, you know, stand on themselves without, like, having to be like, let's just do all these and check all the flags, because it makes the endings feel, it makes the pathways themselves feel less meaningful, all the ones that aren't the true ending, if, oh, why'd you say, uh-oh, are we dropping? No, we're fine. It makes the... wait, no, now we are dropping. Wait, no, we're not? No, we're fine. We dropped for a second. We're fine. It makes the endings that, that aren't the true ending, and it makes all the pathways feel less point-filled. But by having an ending that actually wraps everything up, even if it's not everything, even if there are loose ends that are probably followed up in other pathways, by having a, a full story within the one pathway, even if there is a true ending, or if there's not, it makes the stuff that happens in this pathway feel more meaningful than if they just kind of tried to, write this one off as, oh, well, this one doesn't matter, you can just get the full story in the true, which is something I've been finding myself having more of a problem with lately, so I respect that this is wrapping itself up nicely as its own thing. And maybe there isn't a true ending with this, which makes the true ending more of a pleasant surprise if it does come, because it could be that each playthrough is self-contained based on this and how it's wrapping itself up, and so it's the best of both worlds. If there's no true ending, then it lets you sort of choose which path you like most, instead of being like, well, that's the real ending, these don't count. When there's no true ending, you get to choose which you find the most real to you. And even if there is a true ending, with these wrapping themselves up, you can still sort of take these instead if maybe you don't like the true one as much. And also it just makes the events that happen here feel more meaningful, and you can think of them all as their own separate true endings. But anyways, that's just something I've been thinking of more and more as I experience more visual novels that, have the true ending crutch. But I cannot remain in this reminiscence forever. Yes, that's exactly what I was doing, is delaying the reminiscence.
シローの中では決着をつけたってことね。
I see, then you've concluded this inside you already.
だから落ち込むこともなく、思い出に浸ることもないってわけ。
So that's why you're not depressed or filling yourself with reminiscence. Can you read my mind? I guess she is pretty smart.
けど今も夢に見る。これから先もずっとあいつのことを思い出すよ。
Yeah, but I still dream about it. I'll recall her for the rest of my life. If he's serious and he really will recall her for the rest of his life, then he might just grow up being alone, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. You don't need a waifu, but if having the thoughts of her is enough, then maybe he does just grow up to be, the one-man solo. But of course, things change over time. Just because he says I'll recall her even if he recalls her for the rest of his life, things to think about. But based on the way he's acting now, it probably will be more than just a couple years. If he does end up hooking up, it'll probably be closer to 5 at least, if he does. Or he could just go solo all his life. That could happen too. It's less likely for that to happen given how many girls are thirsting for him. And so if girls weren't thirsting for him as hard, it would be more realistic for him to go the whole time. But because of how hard all these girls are thirsting for him, it's a lot less likely for him to not eventually go, alright, I'll give you a try eventually.
いつか記憶が薄れて、あいつの声もあいつの仕草も忘れていく。
My memory will fade away someday, and I'll forget about her voice and her gestures.
それでもこんなことがあったと。セイバーっていうやつが好きだったってことだけは
But still,
ずっと覚えてる。
I'll remember forever that this thing occurred, and that I loved Saber. Tosaka doesn't say anything. I guess she had a strong connection to Archer too. Even if not as strong. For some reason she looks happy and starts to walk as if she's skipping. Maybe because that was the moment maybe because up until now she was still not sure if Shiro was secretly hiding the baggage and was trying to probe to see if Shiro was hiding the baggage. And maybe saying that affirmed to her just now that he wasn't and he really did feel good, which is what is making her happy right now. Because, she really does care about him. And did think it was really weird that he wasn't depressed.
どうしたんだよ、トサカ。そんなに急いで。なんかあったのか？
What's going on, Tosaka? Did something happen to make you hurry?
別に、ただ早く学校に着きたいなって。
It's nothing. I just want to get to school quickly.
さあ、そういうわけだからシローも急ぐ。
So let's
のん
hurry.
びりしてると置いてくわよ。
I'll leave you behind if you're slow. Nice. It's good to see that she seems to be healthy too, given how she's acting. Definitely development off screen in that case. I don't think she's just Oh, I'm gonna prep my next person for the next Grail War that'll maybe happen. Magic, magic, magic. It doesn't feel like she's in that state of mind, even though we never really resolved her coming out of that state of mind. So that feels like off-screen development, though it could probably be pushed further in her path. Her path might just be more about discoveries. I don't want to say it's less meaningful if she's okay in this path, but there's a difference between being... But you can end up in different states. It's not necessarily less meaningful, but it is. It's just less meaningful doesn't mean it still doesn't have meaning. Anyways, turning around, Tosaka starts running up the hill.
なんだあいつ。朝弱いくせに無理して。
What's she doing, pushing herself when she's not a morning person? She'll be a morning person for you, Shiro. Gosh. Grumbling, I throw the bag over my shoulder and start to run. He might be a bit smarter now, but I don't think he's quite as catching on in the waifu direction. Probably, maybe in that case, he actually is still ignoring the truth for a little while. Debatably. Because of how much of a saber-sexual he still probably will be for a while. Probably just no point to engage in that for some time. It's still 7:30. It's too early a time for a student not involved in any club activities, but I guess there's nothing wrong with being early. Running up the road that seems to go up into the sky, I reach the school earlier than usual. Today's the day the new year starts. If I'm to celebrate, I have to shake off my old memories and hurry up. Traces will never go away. Trace on. Even if I almost cry from the vacancy hitting my heart. Blue sky is in the distance. Shio realized Rin was waking up early, but not the romantic reasoning. Yeah. Just because he has the smarts doesn't mean he has the romantic insight. It feels so close. Yet I cannot grab it even if I reach out with my hands. Oh, that's that anime thing. That anime trope. The anime character reaching out through the sky for their dreams. Ugh. Even if I cannot grab it even if I reach out with my hands. That's the dream of the saber. But it's okay, because I still know it's there. The blue sky is Saber in this instance, because Saber was draped in blue, of course. I looked up at the stars before. The blue sky and the golden sun is Saber in this instance. The stars that I cannot reach, and wishes that will not be granted. There's nothing we've been able to leave behind for each other. Except the memories and the thoughts and the feelings. Therefore, traces and memories will disappear someday. Dash, 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 dash. But still, even if it will not reach her, there should be something that will remain in our hearts. There's nothing that remains in our hands, but we lived the same time and looked up at the same things. If I can remember that, I believe that we can be together, even if we are far apart. I can assent that, as there are things that will go away. Oh! There are also things that will not go away, as I move in my seat. That is why I will keep running for now. Not running away, though. Running towards. Or running adjacent? If I aim for the distance, there should come a day when I will be able to reach out to what I have been aiming for. And what exactly is it you've been aiming for, Shiro? You mean following Kiritsugu's dreams? Do you mean Saber? Because I think that's something you're not necessarily going to be able to reach. Or do you just mean that undescribable something? I guess for now that's all it is. Winter has passed and it is spring, the season of new beginnings. New beginnings, new dreams, new thoughts, new life. Under the blue sky that she has also seen, I keep running up the hill. Happiness! That's true. He could just be meaning he wants to get happiness. It is undescribable, though, the form that the happiness will take. And that's why, you know, new year, new season, gets greeted to new things to figure out what it is that he can grasp onto, what hobby he can attain. You know, Kirei talking about how the games and books that he didn't experience because he never bothered looking for the happiness. You know, even though he's happy for his friends being happy, now he can truly find the thing that he's happy for. That is the undescribable something. The battle has ended. Oh, we actually are going to close out with Saber. I didn't know if we don't go here. Her last battleground, the battle that was fought between the split halves of her country, ended with the king's victory. The hell is that? That's not King Arthur's voice. That's not Artoria's voice. That's a guy's voice. The knight is running. The knight? Wait. What knight? Which knight? Which knight are we talking about? Is this Archer? Wait. Are we ending on some kind of weird tease? The battle has ended. The bloody red sun has already set, and the darkness of the night is already ruling over the battlefield. The hill, covered with corpses, is filled with curses, crying out to try to take the survivors with them. Darkness of the night is already ruling over the battlefield. Through it all, the knight runs panting. Is this meant to be the knight that Saber gave the duty of putting the sheath? Is he meant to be Percival? Archer? No, I don't know. Because he said, go, send this away so I can die, or whatever. Isn't that what was happening while she was mid-hill? Or is that separate? A rein is in the knight's hand, and the wounded white horse earnestly follows him. The only survivors are this knight and this horse. So is this post-battle? Like, Saber did the whole thing, and then was destined, maybe was destined to give up the Grail, and destined to end like this. Hold on, this is his perspective then, so... Battle is ended, the last battleground. The battle that was fought between... Yeah, this doesn't necessarily say that it's Saber's perspective. Okay, I was initially thinking Saber, but no. I think this is when post-Saber. I think Saber's dead at this point. The battle that was fought between the split halves of her country ended with the king's victory. This is someone who knows that the king is a girl. Now, it could be that Saber's sister just shouted out to all the knights that, it's a girl! She's a deceiving deceiver! In case they didn't already know. But the night is running, the battle has ended, the bloody red sun has already set, and the darkness of the night is already ruling over the battlefield. The hill covered with corpses, filled with curses. The knight runs panting. A rein is in the knight's hand, and the wounded white horse earnestly follows him. The only survivors are this knight and this horse. Wait, if he's the only survivor, wouldn't it be Percival then? If that was the knight that survived? I forget. Or no. The one that was instructed to send the sheath away, or send the sword away, or I don't remember the lore exactly. And this one knight that is lying on the white horse's back. Oh, wait, there's two. One king. Wait, one king that is lying on the horse's back? Wait, did the king live? Wait, the one king, the survivor. What, are we saying Saber lived and gets to live out her life in the past? Well, that's a good for her send-off message. So she was somehow saved? Because she didn't... She was going to let herself die. Her wounds were unsavable. But did she somehow get her sheath back in the past? Unless that was somehow connected to... There's two ways that could have happened. The Grail could be doing some malarkey and giving her sheath back in the past. Or it could be that whoever stole the sheath gave it back in the past. Or at least used it on her before it got separated again later. I think she's still dying. I just figured she would already be dead, but maybe she's still dying.
Oh, Asao, こちらに.
Your Highness, King Arthur, please come this way. Doesn't sound like Archer. Sounds a little like Lancer, actually. He must be wounded himself, but the knight runs through the battlefield with all his energy. The king he is serving is on the verge of death. Okay. The king has defeated the enemy's king. There was an enemy king? You mean her sister? Oh, yeah, what? In personal combat, but the king received a fatal wound as well. The wound is fatal even in the knight's eyes. The king they have served will soon reach death. Your Highness. You're really calling King Arthur? Oh, well, hold on. Let me check something. I might be momentarily derping, but I think this dude meant Mordred as the enemy king. Oh, I guess that's true. I mean, that's not really a king, though. Hold on, I want to check something. Because I might be stupid. Okay, Your Highness can refer to a guy. Just, I was like, wait, Your Highness, that refers specifically to a female, right? No, that's not true. That's not true at all. I don't know why I was thinking that for a second. I was being stupid. Anyways, the king that they had served will soon reach death.
お気を確かにあの森までたどり着けば必ず
Please get a hold of yourself. If we reach that forest, oh, we shall certainly... I don't think I hear the archer in that voice. I don't think. King of Rebellion, sure. I understand it referring to Mordred, but, you know, it was the sister that was actually in charge, but I understand Mordred being the one in charge of the actual fighting. Yeah. He desperately calls out. Or possibly the knight might have really believed it. Does he really believe it? If we reach that forest. That their king is immortal. Because of the sheath, but doesn't have the sheath anymore, right? That's already been parted with? That as long as the guidance of the holy swords is there, the king would never die. But all things must die. Ha 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 ha. He breathes hard, passes over mountains of corpses, and heads for the forest that is not covered in blood. He knew of the king's immortality. Therefore, he believes that the king's wound will heal if he escapes this cursed battlefield and makes it to a pure place. Believes the king's wound will heal if he escapes this cursed battlefield. So you think the curse is holding it back? But there's the sheath as well, right? And the sheath is separated, or has that happened yet? Believes the king's wound will heal if he escapes this cursed battlefield. No, he could only believe so. Desperately hoping your king will live. Who are you, Mr. Knight? He believed his own king, unlike the other knights. Right. So this should be Percival. Hold on, I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering the name right. Wait, I got a wise up? Oh, the name became Artoria, I suppose. Round Table. Prince, blah 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 blah. The Days of Battle. The Great Deed. Arthur's Altu. Morgana was next. King Arthur. Holy Grail abandoned due to its lack of greed. The end of legend was marked by King Arthur's death. His older sister at the end of the Battle of Mordred. King Arthur's fall started with his Yeah, I know about that. But this can't be Lancelot for obvious reasons. Losing his trusted knight, losing the sheath, the holy sword, losing his own country. Does it say here? I thought it said here. King Arthur's corpse was carried by the ladies of the lake to Avalon. Oh, it's named after Avalon. Hero sleep. Legend is handed down that King Arthur will awaken from his sleep in Avalon when England is in peril. And save his homeland. Here's the red dragon that symbolizes the British people, and he calls himself Bedivere. Okay, I was looking for the... It's Bedivere? Alright. I don't know if this is Bedivere, but it should theoretically be Bedivere. The first paragraph? Oh, wait, what? Wait, I missed it? I missed it? Oh, the holy sword Excalibur was entrusted to Sir Bedivere on King Arthur's deathbed. Okay, so is this supposed to be Bedivere? Is Shiro, like, reincarnated Bedivere to some extent? I just, you know, if he's some kind of holy spirit secretly. Or he could just be Archer, but the voice sounds different. I don't know if that would be correct. I think it's more likely he's reincarnated Shiro than Archer, because we've heard an Archer in the flashback before, and I think he was somebody else. The king was isolated in the court, alienated by the knights, and was feared by the people. But the king did not show emotion even in such a situation, and always stayed as an ideal, and the knight felt pride in his young king. He did not serve his country, he served his king. He had entrusted his sword, struggled to be of power, and made his way to be a personal guard of the king as a young man because it was this king. Made his way to be a personal guard. The Masked King. The Masked King? Oh, King Arthur wears a mask? The boy who tried to allow no personal feelings and to be fair. Oh, the boy, yes. Okay, so you don't... I mean, you know that he's a she at this point, right? If you have her, like, on the deathbed, or maybe she's just been pretending to be androgynous even at this point. Like, oh, I'm just a girly boy. He might have hoped to be able to see the king's true face if he went near the king. Have you still not seen it? He just wanted to see the king's true expressions. Not the face he puts on during battle or in the castle, but a real smiling face of a human. This seems so much like Shiro. So it just feels like I wouldn't be surprised if this was somehow shoved into Shiro during the events of Fate Zero or something. Because there definitely feels like a strong connection. If not, it's very coincidental and seems random for this guy to be getting a spiel right now. It could also, I suppose, the Archer connection seems more flimsy only because we saw a separate flashback that had someone who had a voice that definitely felt like Archer, and that was not this person, but otherwise, I could argue an Archer connection, but it just feels less likely because of that. It should appear in the court when he has been released from his duties. No matter how perfect a king is, he cannot strain his mind 24 hours a day. But that thinking proved wrong. The only thing he found out was the truth, contrary to his expectation. He has made it to the rank of Imperial Guard and was able to guard beside the king. He has guarded the king closer than any other knights and kept watch on the king's behaviors. But still it did not happen even once. His king never smiled. Since when did he feel anger toward it? The king has accomplished so many great deeds and has accrued much glory. But in fact, the king never showed a peaceful face. He could not approve of that fact. This feels very Shiro. He wanted to believe such a thing should not be allowed. That is why he wished for his king to be awarded the light. But he has yet to accomplish that. The king is still isolated. That is why the knight continuously did not approve of the king's death. That's before his development at the end, I suppose, for Shiro. Although, circumstances are different, because in the future, Saber is just a spirit from the past. Here, it's the very real present. So even post-development, Shiro might act like this, if he was theoretically in these shoes. Then again, if this is chronological order, then this would, of course, be pre-development. If this is somehow the same person on some level. He cannot end it here. He thinks that this great king is not rewarded enough for his actions.
Oh, 今はこちらに。すぐに兵を呼んでまいります。
Your Highness, please stay here. I shall go get someone right away. This doesn't sound like Shiro, but it doesn't have to be the same voice. Wait. In the forest he reaches, the knight lays the king by... I thought that the one on the left was supposed to be Saber with his androgynous getup, pretending to be a guy. You look a lot... You're quite the blondie, aren't you? Who are you? You look fucking related to Saber. Interesting. Who are you? Even if you did... I mean, I guess you're Bedivere or whatever the name is, but like, a name means nothing. who are you in this universe? Because Saber isn't actually a guy. He's King Arthur, but he's a girl. So who are you, Bedivere? Even if you are reincarnated Shiro, who are you? The situation is erased against time. It takes half a day, no matter how much he hurries, to go to the port where his own army is left. Anyone with eyes should be able to tell if the king's life will last till the morning or not. But you're ignoring the truth because you haven't had your development yet in the future past?
どうかそれまで辛抱を。必ず兵を連れて戻ります。
Please endure until then. I shall certainly bring our troops here. He salutes the unconscious king and runs to his white horse.
ベリビエル。
Yeah, it's Bedivere. Okay. Before that, the king that should have been unconscious calls out his name. Did you realize something, Saber, about the connection between the two?
おう、意識が戻られましたか。
Did she just wake up from the Grail Wars? Is this the moment where she wakes up? Your Highness, have you regained your consciousness?
少し夢を見ていた。
Yes. I was having a dream. A dream that lasted multiple years and spanned at least 2 Grail Wars. A faint voice. But that voice seems warm to the night.
夢ですか。
A dream? It could be Shiro's voice actor if he's really playing it differently. I think I might have heard a little something in there, but that might be just me straining to hear a connection. He calls out as if to search. The king's consciousness is not certain. He shall go back into the darkness unless he replies so.
そうだ。あまり見たことがないのでな。貴重な体験をした。
Yes. I've not seen many dreams, so I had a valuable experience. What a trippy dream! Met a boy, fell in love, and then parted. And actually, before meeting that boy, I was teamed up with his father, and he was a dick. And then I met the boy and heard that the father wasn't even a dick. And then, you know, it was a lot.
それは。では、どうぞお気遣いなくお休みください。私はその間に兵を呼んでまいります。
If that is Shiro's voice actor, then it's very good chops to the voice actor. I don't believe it is. That's great. Then please be at ease and rest. I shall go get the troops in that time. Dash, 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 dash. A gasping sound. It sounds as if what the knight said was unexpected. Ooh. There are some dreams that do seem to last for years. Yeah, you know. I guess I don't want to talk about that for spoiler reasons, but there's something I've been watching that gives me similar vibes. But yeah, dreams do seem to last longer than, you know, when you actually wake up, how long they actually were. Sometimes you can feel like you're dreaming. This is more of a nightmare thing, where it's like you think you're awake, but you're not actually awake, and you want to wake up, and you don't know how to wake up. Maybe this just happens to me, I don't know. I mean, it hasn't happened in a long time, but I've had nightmares like that, where it's like, how do I wake up? And I can't wake up, and, you know, that lasts for a few hours, and then I wake up, and probably didn't actually last that long, but... Even if Betty is not related to Shiro, he seems real like him. I feel like he's too like him for this not to be something, especially with the seeds there that Shiro is somehow magically delicious. Like, if Shiro wasn't magically delicious, this could just be a thematic tie, but he's too magically delicious in ways we don't know I feel like there has to be the tie.
おう。何かご無礼な点でも。
Your Highness, have I been rude? It's similar to the whole Sakura thing. If there wasn't, you know, more magically delicious assumptions, I could assume it's just a through line, but there's too much unresolved magically deliciousness for there not be a connection, I feel. Please be at ease and rest.
いや、そなたの言い分に驚いた。夢とは目を覚ました後でも見れるものなのか。違う夢ではなく、目をつむればまた同じものが現れると。
No, I was just surprised at your point. I did not know a dream could be seen after one awakens. Are you saying I'll be able to see the same dream if I close my eyes again? Oh, is there something like when you have the sheath you can't dream? Was that a thing? Or like, not entirely, like when you have the full, like, I don't know, when you're using its full effects maybe. Maybe that's why she wasn't able to dream. I don't remember if that's true, but that might be a thing. And now she dreamt for the first time, but it wasn't a real dream, but it was a dream and she could continue dreaming with maybe something like that. Please be at ease and rest. Oh, you mean continue dreaming with the Shiro for a little bit? Be able to see the same dream if I close my eyes again? Now it is the knight's turn to be surprised. You like that dream that much? Bedivere has a long history with VAs. One of the most changed VA characters. So what you're saying is he's appeared more than once. That's fine. But also interesting and worth note. I'm sure he's appeared multiple times throughout all the Fate video games you get to play as him. Yeah! He stutters, but replies even though he knows it's a lie. Oh, replies even though he knows it's a lie?
はい。強く思えば同じ夢を見続けることもできるでしょう。私にも経験があります。
If you strongly desire so, you should be able to continue watching the same dream. I have that experience as well. That feels telling. What, do you dream of Shiro in the future? Just some weird stuff where, you know, you wake as that and you dream of Shiro, and then because of the connection of how maybe Shiro saw frickin' King Arthur through your eyes, and now there's a magically delicious connection. But I feel like it would have been in place since before then because of the... Yeah, anyways. Such a thing is not possible. Why is it not possible? Because you think she's gonna die, but you're trying desperately to make it so that she doesn't die. I mean, I think that you can. It's hard to control it. I don't know if you can control it, but you can definitely continue a dream with another dream. It's happened to me before. I've had a dream part one, and then dreamed later, and continued a dream where another dream left off. It certainly can happen. You can't. It's hard to control it, but yeah. What happens only once and not continuously is what people call a dream. So what happens when it happens multiple times? I think it can happen multiple times. But the knight lies in spite of that. He apologizes that this will be the first and last dishonesty he'll perform towards the king. Okay.
そうか。そなたは博識だな。ベリビエール。
I see. You're knowledgeable, Bedivere. I don't necessarily want to know who the voice actor is here. I like figuring out the voice actor and connections for myself, by the way, Aaronworth. Just saying. That's sort of riding the line and where I consider a bit of a spoiler. So, you know, just saying. You're knowledgeable, Bedivere. The king murmurs as if impressed. His face is still looking down. He does not even look up at the knight. Face is still looking down. He does not even look up at the knight. Wait. His face... Oh, right, of course. I got confused here. He still thinks of Arthur as a guy. So that messed me up. You're knowledgeable, Bedivere. His face is still looking down. He's too focused on Shiro in the future past. The king breathes so softly they can be barely heard and quietly. Bedivere, take my sword. Oh, is this when it happens? The thing that was destined to happen? The knight gives his last order in a faint voice.
よいか。この森を抜け、 あの血塗られた丘を越えるのだ。
Time loops.
その先には深い湖がある。そこに我が剣を投げ入れよ。
Pass through this forest and go over that blood-stained hill. There's a deep lake beyond it. Throw my sword into that lake.
おう、それは。
Your Highness, that is... The knight knows what that means. It means giving up the sheath, giving up the immortality. Is this before you wish for the Grail? Because you said you had a dream, so I feel like the dream would be a fate-stained knight in that case. Giving up the sheath, you're just accepting your death instead of, I guess because the sheath is a prolonged... Doing that before the fate-stained knight dream would make sense to me, but if you're doing it post-fate-stained knight, I guess you've already accepted that this is the outcome and doing anything else would change fate, but only because you already had the weird conditions with the Grail, so I suppose that's acceptable. It's just weird because of how the timeline wonkiness goes, because here, in the moment, you're living your present. So even though because of the predestined future, I guess if you change things too much, it could alter the future that you know you've already experienced, even though this is your present. That's funky, but I guess you don't want to risk messing up Shiro and how things came to be. That's fair. Did she lose or already lose Mavelon? I don't know if I can remember. Maybe that's true. I know Excalibur doesn't help regen at all, but like, so maybe you're correct. I just thought that she willingly gave it up, but no, you're probably right. I'm probably just forgetting. I'm reading too much into something because I forgot how things work. I thought that the sheath got lost later. I thought that Bedivere lost it. I thought that's what happened, but I guess I'm remembering wrong. The knight knows what that means. The sword of the lake. To let go of that sword that was the proof of the king, and what protected the king, means the end of the king he has served.
行くのだ。ことを成し得たのならばここに戻り、そなたが見たことを伝えてほしい。
Go. Once you have accomplished my order, return here and tell me what you saw. And the king does not take back his order. The knight takes the holy sword and goes over the hill with his indecision still in mind. And, takes the holy sword. Indecision, that indecision, Bedivere. If I didn't know any better, I feel like you'd be one of the servants in this war, but like, how could you be unless there's some shenanigans going on? Because they're really building up your importance here all of a sudden in this epilogue. And like, from the legend, you're important, sure, but like, you're brand spanking new, and they even bothered to give you a portrait. They probably didn't bother giving you a portrait in the voice section. I'm not going to look, because I feel like that if they did, then I definitely know they're doing some big stuff with you, but definitely feels odd. Like, I'd be surprised if it wasn't the Shiro connection because of how sudden it is. I think I understand the through line of him just being connected to Shiro, even if that's just a thematic element, but feels like it could be more based on like the idea that there's still something more we don't know about Shiro and his ability to just do the sword bursts, because that's not natural. And if the explanation is, oh, I'm showing bullshit, I feel like that's bullshit. So if she wasn't on the verge of her death, she would try to go for another round. I don't even know if she would. Debatable because of the time why-me stuff. Debatable. The knight hesitates, returning the sword for 3 times. Yeah, I thought it was here when he was hesitating, mid-hesitating, that someone stole the sheath. That's what I remembered, but I could just be remembering wrong, so I'll just assume that whatever is right, and I'm wrong, I guess. I don't know. Blake was certainly there, but he just could not throw the sword in it. If he throws the sword in, his king will disappear. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. It's like, oh, he throws the sword, you lose the connection. Well, someone stole the sheath anyway, so it earlier stopped the connection is what I thought, but yeah. The knight is unable to throw away the sword from his unwillingness to part with the king, and the knight turns around and returns to the king, and didn't actually manage to throw the sword. Right, I remember that from the legend. The king repeats to the knight, As the knight lies to the king that he has thrown away the sword, the king only replies to follow his command. To disobey the king's command is a great sin for a knight. But still, he disobeyed the king's order twice. He was reluctant for the king's life when he faced the lake. But that comes to an end. Because of his character development from the future past? Because he's Shiro? As the knight figures out he cannot change the king's decision, he throws the sword to the lake on his third visit. The holy sword returns to the lake. A white hand appearing from the water receives the sword, and after going through the sky 3 times, the holy sword vanishes from this world, until it comes back in the future past because of the Grail War. And the knight finally accepts it. The knight's at the king's end. That the duty that was too long has finally ended. After crossing the hill 3 times, the forest is covered in morning sunset. The battlefield is afar. In the pure, light mist that does not show any trace of a bloody battlefield.
湖に剣を投げ入れてまいりました。剣は湖の夫人の手に。確かに。
Definitely seems familiar to something in there, in those lines, but I've thrown the sword into the lake. The sword has returned to the Lady of the Lake. The king opens his eyes at the king's words, or the knight's words. They're so similar. The king is just, you rearrange the letters a bit. I'm bad with words that start with the same letter and are similar, but aren't the same. You know. I see. Then you should be proud. You've obeyed your king's command. The knight nods silently to the voice facing death. Everything is ended. Chaos in his country would still continue. The battle will not end, and the day of ruin will come around soon. But the battle of the king has ended. Do you at least get to see her smile before she goes out? She has fulfilled her duty until the very last moment. Oh, you're ignoring the truth, but you acknowledge at the very end, it's a fucking she all along. Were you really ignoring the truth, though? Or were you just pretending to ignore the truth? Or is it a thing where you knew but didn't really know? Or did you really know and were you just calling him a he out of respect? Because that sort of separates things. I feel like he knew but didn't really know. Because if he really knew and he's got the Shiro parallels, I think he would be calling her a she. So I think it was more of a he knew but didn't really know kind of thing. The light disappears. Oh, Saber with the long hair here. Finishing her task. Has her last strength disappeared from her body? I'm sorry, Bedivere. Okay, you're cheating. You're cheating. You already did the sleep death that wasn't really a death with Rin, and now you're gonna do the sleep death but really do the sleep death with Saber? You can't do that. You're writing bad. You can't just do the sleep death but then not have it to be a sleep death, but then really do the sleep death here? If you know the sleep death move, then you can't fake the sleep, but this sleep will be a long... As if going to sleep slowly. Gee, where have I seen this before? That's a writing snafu. No way around it, that's a writing snafu. She gradually closes her eyes. The morning sunlight fills the area. The forest stands there quietly, and his king goes into a long sleep. Yes, yeah, but you know, you were being honest when it happened with Ren, so I'm just gonna assume it's honest this time too, that she's actually sleeping again. Expectations were subverted twice. It's bullshit. You can't write. That's a writing snafu. I'm sorry. King Arthur legend did state that she sleeps in Avalon until he returns to save England. I guess she sleeps. But if you know you're gonna go there, then don't futz around the issue with Rin. Mages could save heal Artori with magic, but Yeah, it's true. She ends the contract with the Grail. She doesn't want to mess up the timeline, maybe. But also, the mages are probably too far away. They likely won't get there in time, so she's just accepting it gracefully instead of, you know, yada yada yada. Dash, 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 dash. The knight keeps watching over her figure. The king that he wished for. I fucking keep doing that. A lonely king that was sent off by just one knight. But her face is what he wished for. This is so fucking Shiro. I guess it could just be a thematic coincidence, but because there's unresolved superpowers with Shiro, this feels like it should be more than a thematic coincidence. As usual, the story of Shiro is executed better than Saber's. Nice wise, yeah. No, this is well done. It's just it's got a snafu for a different reason. It's not quite the same snafu as the battle, but a peaceful sleep. In her last moments, the king has obtained peace that she has never been able to obtain. He was just happy about that fact. The knight thanks the someone who has given her peace and proudly watches over his king. And what if the someone who gave her peace is you? Because you're Shiro somehow. Archer was Shiro, and then Shinji was Shiro, Kirei was Shiro, everybody's Shiro, but Bedivere is really Shiro. The heaven is far and the clearing sky is blue. We're back to the present again? The battle is truly ended.
見ているのですか、朝を。
Are you watching King Arthur? Who said that? Was that meant to be Shiro? Or was that meant to be Bedivere? Or is it both? His murmur rides through the wind. Third person, so arguably Bedivere, unless it's in the future and is Bedivere because he lives in the future because he's Shiro, or because he's inside Shiro, or because he's at least got some connection, or he's not Shiro but still in the future somehow, but not a servant? As if sinking into the endless blue, the king that went into sleep.
夢の続きを。
The continuation of the dream. Are you watching the continuation? Ah, that's cute. Sees a distant, distant dream. The battle is over. Let us put our swords down and rest in the momentary peace. After dozing in a warm dream, a new day will dawn. The days continue on, and we're still following the same star we once saw. Well, they didn't deconfirm it, so I'm going to say Bedivere is just Shiro. Planning. Scenario. Scripting. Assistant. Alright. The forever game is done-ish. Shiro, Noriaka, Sugiyama, Saber, Ayako, Rin, Kana, Archer, Juichi, Sakura, Noriko. No, wait, no, different Noriko. Yu, Mai, Atsuhiko, Shuichi, George, Nobunaga. George? The fuck? Miyu, Mitsumi, Eri, Rie, Ryaka, Masumi. Kiritsugu, wait, he's multiple? How is he that many people? Excuse me? Okay, so, there will, I don't know, with how much of an epilogue there was, I'm doubting a post-credits. I might have expected post-credits if there wasn't a big epilogue, but there was an epilogue, so I find post-credits unlikely. I think... Are we done streaming for the day? Kiritsuga was the person that was everyone. Yeah. It is kind of early, but I could end early if I felt like it. There's definitely some bonus stuff I'm interested in looking into. I don't know if I want to do that now. I probably want to do that now because we did end, I don't want to say sooner than I expected. It's probably about as soon as I expected, just. Oh, and that's a cute ending shot. Those credits went faster than I expected. Not as many people involved as I might have thought. Is there still a post-credit scene despite the epilogue? No, there's not. I didn't think so. Finn. Alright. Yeah, I know, it's special menu stuff. May not think this is the best pathway. There's a lot of cool elements. Finn. Alright, now what if I click? Where does this take us? Alright, yeah. The thing has changed. The environment has changed. Okay, so... Alright. Okay, so let's see here. Extra? Oh, that's the same. Let's see here. So we got prologue, gallery. Last time I checked gallery, it crashed my game, so I'm going to avoid that. ED list. Fate True End. Continuation of the dream. So that means there's 3 main endings. Okay, that fits with the number of Tiger Dojos. Alright. Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts. I think we probably are going to stop here for now, probably. It's early, I would probably normally go much longer, but things and stuff. Things to talk about. It just feels, when I get to an ending like this, I like to stop rather than push on, I think. It just feels like natural. Given how long it took us to get here, maybe, it's hard to say. It would have been really tight. Like, if I had not been interrupted when I was, I don't think I would have been able to finish yesterday anyways. I probably would have been like, I would have been like an hour short, so it's probably for the best, that we had to cut there and continue where we did. So, I'm still definitely curious about these 3, and I want to look into these 3, and then maybe scout for some Taiga dojos. Now, at this point, I do know that the idea is now we go from here, if my understandings are correctly, into, I'll have to mess around with this to make sure I understand how this works correctly, but I believe we then have to go from here to, you know, this is Fate, and then the next one is, its name is escaping me, you know what I mean, which it's set up in the list as I was, in the Fate folder. There are certain things, and I believe that's the next step, but before we do the next step, there's a couple things that need to happen before we do the next step. Because of the way it was downloaded, it has to be loaded in separately, but there's a couple things that definitely have to happen first. And one of the main things that I'm curious is how these differentiate. I doubt there'll be big differentiations, but I'm gonna look into them. So, the question is when. That is a big question, actually. I would have time if I did them today, but I still feel like it's best to probably do a stop here, thematically speaking. Tomorrow? Are we going to stream tomorrow? You know what? I don't know how long it's going to take. Let's do a stream tomorrow, in that case. I'm stopping early today anyways, so I think that's fine. Yeah, the next route is the Shinji route, for sure. The first thing I want to do is I'll probably load up this. I'll load up this, and I'm going to look into the differentiations here, because I am curious. And then maybe we'll do some scouting for Tiger Dojos if we've got some time. Tomorrow's probably going to be that. starting next week, I'm probably going to go into my Danganronpa 3 post-game, so I'm probably not going to be streaming Fate next week. So tomorrow we're going to be, yeah, I'll probably try to clear these extras out tomorrow. Yes, that's correct. And then next week, I'm probably going to get into my recording my Danganronpa 3 post-game stuff. And once the Danganronpa 3 post-game is over, then is when I might jump into the next pathway of Fate. Around then. I'll keep you posted on my Twitter and Discord and stuff. Overall thoughts on the pathway? I feel like I've mostly given them. I think it's good. I think it's definitely got pacing issues at the start. I feel like I like that it has a real ending. Despite the fact that there are definitely hanging threads, like we never figured out what happened with Archer, but that's fine. It's a good end. It's a good, it definitely got stronger towards the end, but it almost got too fast towards the end compared to how slow it was in the beginning, so some faster sections toward the beginning would have been nice. It's definitely a hard to get into. It makes a lot of Shiro's action stuff make more sense in hindsight when you get later on, but earlier on, some of the reasons for why some of the things are off aren't so clear, they're more subtle, and if you aren't looking into them, I can see why it would turn someone off in the early game. Which I do think is a flaw. It's fine looking in hindsight, but that doesn't take away from the flaw. And, yeah, Avalon being a little more foreshadowed with how it actually functions to beat Gilgamesh would have been nice. Killing Berserker all at once with multiple hits was a little eh. But overall, it was good. It was good. I liked it. I definitely didn't dislike it. I liked the epilogue. The epilogue was nice. Tiger Dojos were great. I overall ended up enjoying the Saber romance after a while. At first I was against it, because I'm like, Saber's a ghost waifu, but then, you know, but that's kind of what makes it so great in the end, is where they're forced to separate. That makes it bittersweet, which makes the sweetness sweeter, because he's able to push past the bitterness, I feel. Yeah. Rin not dying. Now that I've seen the whole ending, and I saw where they played up the epilogue to, Rin should have died. I don't know. The way they handled that, the sleep death, the double sleep death with one of them really being a sleep death and the other one not being a sleep death, I feel was poor writing. Also, although if they were both sleep deaths, it's repetitive. So now, if they wanted to end Saber on the sleep death, they shouldn't have even done that with Rin, even if they were going to do a real Rin sleep death. So, I guess in that sense, Rin shouldn't have died, but her dying wouldn't have even necessarily been a problem for the narrative. It means Shiro could have theoretically been more upset in the post-game, so I guess it's fine for Rin to live. They just shouldn't have done the sleep death at all with Rin. With the, not even the real sleep death, the fake sleep death, I feel. There were better ways of sending her off without it being sleep. I feel like she could have went to sleep afterwards. She could have talked to him, they could have kept talking, and then she would have went to sleep off screen afterwards, and she would have been like, oh, I guess, you know, Rin's asleep now, so she can't help us for the meeting. He would have just said that. And that would have made it less final. But yeah. Even if you were to take this as a standalone, it's pretty satisfactory as a standalone. I think that's good. But, of course, there's still looming threads. And there's an argument to be made that some of the looming threads shouldn't be so obviously looming. There is that argument. Because, like, Rin felt like she wasn't teamworking a lot of the time. They definitely felt like there was some stuff going with her in the background we didn't know. I'm fine with Archer being left a mystery, but Rin and some of her development being basically off-screened definitely feels awkward. And I'm fine with it because I know there's more, but there still is the argument to be made that as a standalone, if you want this to be full standalone, make everything standalone. It was good. It was good. I won't ever, you know, I'm not going to take any, like, I'm not going to take anything away, except for all the bad things said about it. I feel like, this is one of those pathways that, it gets better the further you get, I feel, in general. I enjoyed it more the further I got, for the most part. And I think it's better to have a solid ending than a solid beginning and stumble and shit the bed later on. Having a solid beginning means it's more likely you're actually going to push through to see the ending stuff. So it's good that I had such a strong connection to Fate Zero that I was willing to push through and see the ending stuff, despite it stumbling a bit in the beginning. But I do think it's more important to have a strong ending than a strong beginning, if you're already willing to push through the beginning. And the beginning isn't even bad, it's just, it can be kind of touch and go in places. It's kind of slow, is the real main issue. And the ending really was strong. It did get better as it went, I felt, for the most part. The Avalon thing, not having the proper foreshadowing, was a bit of an issue, but the rest of it was done so well that I don't think it takes away from how good the ending was in general. It was strong, and strong endings are important to me, and I do think that was strong. It was abrupt, but it was still strong with what it was working with. Kirei being the final villain was definitely abrupt, unquestionably, but it worked for me because I'd seen Fate Zero, which is me giving a little bit of a free pass, but I've also, you know, harped on it a bit because of my connection to Fate Zero and wishing it was more, you know, more gritty, do realistic fight things that Fate Zero did, that this didn't really do as much. It was more about emotional connections. And so I'm giving it a positive and a negative due to my connection to it, so I think it's fair to do that. And yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say at this point. Tomorrow, I've already said what I'm planning to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, I want to look into following up these and see how much they might diverge. I don't think they diverge too much, but I'm curious. That's probably the main thing I'm going to do tomorrow. And then, yeah, after that, next week I'm taking off streaming because I'll be recording Danganronpa 3 post-game, and I'll see how long that takes. That's probably going to take a couple weeks. But after I'm done with that, I probably jump back into Fate because, you know, we weren't fading for too long. So we were pretty close to the ending, essentially, when I went on my hiatus. That's what was essentially the deciding factor for me, was just how much was left in the pathway. And it wasn't that much. If there was more left, if we had kept this Fate streaming going for like a couple more weeks before getting to the ending, then I might have taken a longer break before the next pathway. But I don't think I need to take I don't think I need to take a long break because it wasn't that much Fate. So it'll probably just be me finishing off the Danganronpa 3 post game, and then we just jump into the second pathway of Fate. But tomorrow, I want to try to tie up some loose ends for this pathway. So yeah, that's what's happening. Apparently I dropped 1,000 frames. Don't know when I dropped those extra 500 frames. Doesn't really matter. We're done. If you're watching this on YouTube, the video's over. Maybe the video was already over, because I feel like I probably should have stopped recording before I stopped streaming. I don't know, but the video's over. So, see ya with extras. This was a Fate, and it was Fate, and it was good. I enjoyed the Fate. I liked the I love you at the end. It really wrapped it up in a nice package. It was nice that it had an epilogue that definitely felt like it worked. Felt like a strong epilogue. It was nice that they came back to Sakura and stuff, since that hides the fact that there is a plot twist with Sakura, and they're making me think there isn't, and that what they did with Sakura was just that they had her leave because it was a narrative through line that she was like, oh, the non-war part is leaving when she leaves, and she comes back after the epilogue as a cute through line. But that's not what they're doing. There's definitely a plot twist. I know there's a plot twist. I see it coming. Stop recording. Bye-bye. It's over.